What up? What up? What up? What up? That's weird. I think we should be live. All right, 6:30. What's going on, y'all? Everybody on YouTube and TikTok. What's up, pizza? About to get things started for you all. Hopefully everything is working. All right, we're providing. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Push Play the DJ. We are live. We are providing coverage of
96 of
the first Grand Slam track series.
To be a champion,
brought to you
break records,
from
that's what we
Michael
all wanna
Johnson,
their own
Olympic
pursuits.
legend.
Wins can never be taken away from you. Medals can never
We
be
got
taken away from you.
four
Their own goals.
Grand Slam track is basically a new league that is set up. Got four different locations. The first one tonight here in Kingston, Jamaica.
dominating every time I
And
step on the track.
I'm
I wanna beat
happy to be
everybody
working
out
with the
there.
Creative
Fun
Sports
on this
Network to
weekend.
provide you
Something
guys
come out of it.
coverage.
This is the first season of Grand Slam track.
It's gonna be a dogfight.
And I'm hoping y'all can hear everything clear.
Well, they are ready, we're ready, and so are our hosts. The beautiful island of Jamaica could not be a better venue to welcome the inaugural Grand Slam event. Countries renowned for its cultural and sporting icons. Bob Marley took reggae music to the world with his message of love and peace. And then over the years, Jamaica's great athletes made it a dominant force
So
on
we
the
definitely
track.
got
And perhaps the most famous
got
athlete
a
of all,
ton
the
of
GOAT,
races
the
happening.
greatest of all time.
short
Usain Bolt
distance and long distance.
heralds from these parts, as we all know.
And we're glad to provide
Well, I'm
that
Steve
to you
Cranberry,
tonight.
looking forward to welcoming you to the Grand Slam track event here in Kingston.
Everybody on
This
YouTube,
is
make sure you drop a
our
subscribe.
first day
We'll be doing this
of a
all
whole
weekend.
Tonight, tomorrow night, and
Everybody on
Sunday
TikTok, drop a
afternoon.
follow
I'm
and
joined
run the
here
likes up so we
commentary by
can
two
get more people to catch
wonderful, brilliant
some great track and field
former
action.
Olympians,
And
US
everybody on
distance
Twitch,
star
come
Harry
through
Tollefson
and drop a follow
and
as well.
Canadian sprinter Anson Henry. Welcome, guys.
Respect, appreciate it. Glad to be here, man.
Yeah, it's going to be an amazing few days here, and
What
I
I
am
did,
just
Todd?
fired up. I don't think you want me to lace up, but I want to. You can just feel the
Really?
vibe. And
You,
MJ has
you guys
worked
want
so
to be on the
hard
bus,
for
right?
this.
I'm good with the ackee and sawfish and the fried dumpling. I'll stick with that, and I'll watch.
Well, these were scenes not long ago when athletes were arriving at the stadium to the warm-up area, still looking for a bit of shade because it's pretty warm. That's Jess Hull, Olympic silver medalist in the 1500 meters. Gabby Thomas having a bit of a laugh before her first event. We will be seeing her very, very shortly. Indeed, it's warm. It's a little breezy, I have to
So to
say
give you
that.
guys I guess a
Maybe
synopsis of what
understating things a
Grand
little
Slam
bit,
track
but the
track is.
athletes will
Like I
contend
said,
with
Grand
that,
Slam
pretty
track
sure.
is a new league. You got
You know, I don't
48
really care
races
about
that
breeze,
have,
though. As far as how it
I
affects
guess,
the times and
officially
stuff,
signed
I just
contracts
wanna see
with the Grand
people
Slam
beat
track
it.
league. And then they go
So
up
this is
against
what we
40
got to
different
look forward to,
challenges,
as I
and
mentioned, the women's long
they're
sprints
selected
coming
by
up shortly. That'll be our
various
first race.
criteria
Do we have the
of
men's long sprints after
global
that? Women's long
champions,
distance, women's short
their
distance.
rankings in track and
Harry will be
field,
seeing Nikki
their
Hills in
global
the 800s.
following, and
Yeah, I mean, they've been
rivals,
looking forward
like,
to this
if
for
they have
so
any
long.
rivalries with
You know,
the
even
48
doing
races that are
doubles
signed in
in
Grand Slam
races
track.
earlier to get
And,
ready for this. Nikki
some
Hills
of
is
the
such a
some of the
fun
competitors that
athlete
you're
to
gonna
watch,
see,
so yeah. So many great
Olympic
athletes here, and
champions,
Nikki Hills definitely
world
one to watch.
record holders,
Yeah, we'll be talking about them all. We'll have
and
the long
some of the
hurdles
best
after
track and
that,
field
400 hurdles, 400 hurdles
athletes
for the
in the
women as
world.
well. The men's
You know,
long
ranging
distance
from like
event,
Gabby
5,000 meter
Thomas
race.
to
And
Jasmine
we're going to
Camacho
end
Quinn,
with the 100 meters
Kenny
where we'll be
Bednarik,
seeing Fred Kelly and his pals.
Yeah, you want to put a bounce in Fred's
Sydney,
stride,
Sydney
just put some
McLaughlin
money
on
on the
LeBron,
line, man, and that's what we
and
got
so much
here,
more. So
it's going to be interesting.
definitely going to be a great
Well, they
evening.
know what
That's
they're
the track
watching
and field.
here in Jamaica. They've been so used to seeing so many wonderful athletes over the years.
We're gonna start.
Everyone's gone for a little bit of shade, and why not?
We're going to be starting
Sun is
off
still,
with the
reasonably high in the
I
sky,
believe the
making it
200
pretty warm,
meter,
particularly on the back straight.
women's 200 meter.
But our athletes are ready, and we are ready for our very first event. As I mentioned earlier, it's the women's 200 meter.
Here we go. 200 meters about to start off.
Race. I'll be explaining a little bit more about how Grand Slam works if you don't know. We have challengers and we have racers. So first out onto the track are 3 challengers led by Dina Asher-Smith.
Dina Asher-Smith from Great
Stacey
Britain.
Williams and Talitha Diggs. And now
9-time
4
global
racers.
medalist.
A couple of Olympic champions here.
Has a
over
personal
the
best of
2 distances
21.80
of the
in
long
the 200.
sprint. Paulino, the 400 meter Olympic champion. We've got Gabby Thomas in there as well, the 200 meter Olympic champion. And as they head towards their blocks and just get their blocks set, we'll just give you a full rundown of the start list. Lane 1 will be Stacey Williams of Jamaica. Then we've got Talitha Diggs, USA. Our lady Paulino, the Olympic 400 meter champion, goes in 3. Alexis Holmes is in 4. Nikisha Price in 5. Nasser in 6. Gabby Thomas is in 7. And Dina Asher-Smith in lane 8. Well, as I mentioned,
So
2
the
Olympic
4 races
champions,
in this heat.
200
Oh,
and
nah, it's not even a
400.
heat. It's basically
And
just
for
a
the likes
race.
of Dina
They always have
Asher-Smith,
heats.
former world
It's like
champion
one
in
race
200
pretty much.
and
So the 4 races, the 4 racers.
It is. She's
Are
gonna
there,
have to
is
really
Gabby
get
Thomas,
out
a
in this
triple
200.
Olympic gold
That
medalist from
game plan is
Paris.
indicative of
In
what
the
she's gonna have
200,
to
the
do
4x1
beyond
and the
front, stay on
4x4.
front till that 4 comes out.
Marlady Paulino from the Dominican Republic.
Second
Talitha
event. They're going
Diggs
to be
from the
racing
US.
tomorrow. So let's
I'm
just
sorry.
have a look. If you're not quite sure how Grand
sorry,
Slam
so,
is going to work,
Sawa
it's no use
Nasir.
being good in just one race. You want to win the big prize, you
from
want to win the
Bahrain.
Slam, you've got to
And
be able
Nikisha Price from
to
Jamaica.
contest 2
What's up, AP?
distances, 2 races. So
And
let's
Alexis
have a little
Holmes from
look
the USA
at
as well.
exactly how it works.
Well, I'm from the U.S., man.
Let's break down the structure of Grand Slam track. Each of the 4 slams features 96 of the world's fastest competitors, 48 men and 48 women, each divided into 24 racers and 24 challengers. Every competitor is assigned to one of 6 race groups, each containing 2 races: short sprints, short hurdles, short distance, and long distance, where competitors must compete in both events within their group. In terms of scoring, every race follows the same structure. First place earns 12 points, second place gets 8, all the way down to 1 point for 8th place. Then a competitor's total score for a slam is the combined points from both of their races. So someone finishing 3rd and then 4th would total 11 points, placing just behind a competitor who finished 5th and then 2nd with 12. Points will then add up over all 4 slams, shown with different colors on this chart
So everybody,
here
if
to
you're
determine
coming
the
through
2
on
racers
YouTube,
of
make
the
sure you
year.
drop a
A single
subscribe.
men's champion and a single women's champion across all race groups
TikTok,
crowned
drop
at
the
the end of the
follows, run the
season.
lights
If 2
up.
racers are tied, the
Don't forget
dominant
to
score
like.
serves as the tiebreaker. This is calculated over
Don't
all
forget to
8
follow
races
on
of the
Twitch as well.
season, awarding points based on how far ahead of the median race time a competitor finishes, shown here in red. These points are then totaled across all events and used as the final deciding factor if needed. Welcome to Grand Slam track and a new era of racing.
That by way of review, and of course we'll review it over the next 3 days in the next 4 slams. Women's long sprints race 1. That's the 200 meters. It's the first one on the track in the first Grand Slam. I'll have it for you right after this.
So like I was saying, so we got the first race is the women's 200 meter long sprint. Like I said, you got Gabby Thomas, triple Olympic gold medalist from Paris, from the Paris Games of 2024. You got Dina Asher-Smith from Great Britain. You got Marlady Paulino from the Dominican Republic. You got Sawa Nasir from Bahrain. You got Talitha Diggs from the U.S. You got Nikisha Price representing Jamaica. Stacey Williams representing Jamaica as well, and Alexis Holmes representing the U.S. You know, and looking at this field, it's a stacked field, man. It's a stacked group of women. Sub 23:10, man. Is like at least a personal best of. That's the lowest. 23:10 sub. It's crazy, you know. And you got that. Like I said, you got Gabby Thomas, who, you know, her personal best was a 21:60 in the 200. So.
We want to thank the Jamaican Tourism Board and the people of Jamaica for being such excellent hosts this week. Aside from all to see and do, the island quite a sporting tradition. Did you know Jamaica's 93 Olympic medals in track is 7th all-time? Usain Bolt, Elaine Thompson-Herah, Shelly Ann Fraser-Price. Lots and lots of gold in this country. Jamaica, it's a vibe, it's a vacation. Come see for yourself. Learn more at visitjamaica.com. There you see the first group of racers. Women's long sprints, race 1, 200. This brand new resurfaced track. It used to be blue, did it not? The track used to be blue, and now it's the colors of Jamaica. Looks lovely. Alexis Holmes, 400 specialist, but she's now going to run half that far. But all the fun as we go back to Steve Cram.
For athletics fans, they'll know all about their great careers, and she's in there too.
It's just dope that they have another league to participate in, like, you know, similar to like Diamond League and things like that.
Will be introduced now one by one, starting in lane 8. Dina Asher-Smith, former world champion, 2019 in Doha, when she was right at the top of her game. Still a world force in 200 and 100 meter running. British record holder. The Olympic champion, Gabby Thomas, serenely made her way through the rounds in Paris. Had such a great season last year. Really looking forward to seeing a race here. The previously mentioned Nasser of Bahrain. Last weekend in the Dominican Republic, she ran the quickest 400 in the world yet this year. Yes, it's early, but she's in good form. Then we've got Nikisha Price, the first Jamaican ever to run under 49 seconds. And again, a pretty decent 200 meter runner, but this is not her main event. Same for Alexis Holmes. Her top 9 times out of her top 10 were all set in 2024. So an improving athlete. 25-year-old, as I said, come over after the World Indoor Championships in China. Well, Paulino, who moved to the 400, I guess probably in around about 2020, and has dominated that event, certainly last year. Talitha Diggs in lane 2.
You got the Olympic champion and Gabby Thomas.
And then Stacey Ann Williams of Jamaica.
You got my lady Paulino, who won
fresh from a new indoor 400 personal best
in Paris.
Lane
1, the Olympic record.
200 then. Hanson, what we're looking for here?
Well, Paulino needs to at least come out of here with at least 5 points, because obviously to win you get a little boost with the 12 points to win the deuce. Gabby and Dina are really going to be
first race of the Grand Slam track.
That they're going to have a good chance
women's
at
200
that 100K
meters
if they jump out in front with the points in this early race. Spoke to Dina like yesterday, and Dina actually said that she's really focused on that 4. Very confident about her too. So that 400 is going to be something special when she gets out there.
Dina Asher-Smith in lane 8. Gabby Thomas, Olympic champion, in 7. Safety away first time. Asher-Smith got out pretty good. Nasser just got left a little bit. You'd expect that by the 2 sprinters on the outside. But it's Gabby Thomas around the top end, who's just got half a metre on Dina Asher-Smith. And Thomas normally starts to go away from this point. Nasser running well in 3rd at the moment. And then there's a battle with Paulino charging down the last 30-40. But it's going to be Gabby Thomas. Asher-Smith might just hang on here. It's Gabby Thomas, but Paulino with a real surge, taking 2nd place. And that will be really, really significant. We expected Gabby Thomas to come away with a win, 22.62 in these conditions. That's pretty swift, that's pretty good. But Paulino, that is significant. You get 12 points for winning, you get 8 points for second.
Paulino,
but when we cast this forward to the 400 tomorrow and the possible result there, let's say the possible result, that is significant for Paulino.
It's absolutely significant, because she's obviously going to do her thing in the 4. For her to come second, I didn't expect that, man. Gabby getting 1st place obviously makes sense. She's an Olympic champion, but for Paulino to come out of there with those extra points, she's going to end up having a good chance at that 100K.
Dina always runs a pretty good turn. Transition at the home straight here. Gabby Thomas just moved away, just got that gap, and it looked as though Dina was rallying again here.
You know what? Gabby ran a much better turn than I expected. She's tall. You don't expect the taller sprinters to have such a good turn, but she's efficient. And once she gets on the straightaway and lets those limbs go, I mean, she's really, really hard to beat. I expected it to be a lot tighter with her, Dina. That wasn't the case, but Paulino coming 2nd in that race, I think, is the big story.
Well, and so much hype has been on Gabby Thomas since the Olympics, and then since she announced early on that she was going to be running this series of Grand Slams. So look at that huge smile. She must feel really good breaking the tape.
Broadcast, it is on Peacock.
You know what?
If you don't have Peacock, you come watch it here.
Well, you know, the expected winner, but not expected second. Let's just check the result there. 22.62, as I mentioned, 22.93. It's the season's best because she hasn't raced yet for Paulino.
Right.
But the more significant thing for her is finishing second. Dina Asher-Smith took third spot. Lower down, Nasser as well. You know, fourth, good points for her with her best event to come tomorrow. Let's convert that into points. Well, I can tell you it's 12 and then 8, as I said. So a jubilant Gabby Thomas, and she's down trackside with Randy, our reporter.
Race.
Well, Gabby Thomas winning that women's 200 meter.
Well, sadly, yeah, we can't quite hear Randy. He's kind of coming in and going. We just lost, I think he's on a radio mic down there. We're maybe not picking him up. Good support here in the stadium, which we're hoping that'll build over the weekend. A brand new venture here, Grand Slam, at a place where they certainly know they're sprinting, and I'm sure we'll have appreciated Gabby Thomas there.
Gabby's Jamaican herself. She got some family out here. I saw.
All right, Sonia Richards-Ross, the inaugural race on the inaugural day of the inaugural slam is finished. I am not surprised it's Gabby Thomas in the 200, but am I more impressed with her run, or am I more impressed with Paulino in second?
I'm more impressed with Paulino in second, but let's first talk about Gabby. That was an excellent first race for her, and what I loved was how excited she was when she crossed the line. This race matters to her, and I felt like she brought the energy and the excitement we wanted to see in the first race. But let's get to Paulino, who I believe is going to have an easy go at it in the 400, and so she's going to get her points here and potentially win the whole slam in 2 days.
Take a look again at Gabby Thomas running out of lane 7. I think it looked like a good start. 200 is not like trying to break out in the 100, but off she goes, and in the turn really puts it down and establishes authority of this race, getting by Dina Asher-Smith and then controlling the whole field.
Yeah, that's where you could tell that she was going to win it, because the strength of her race is really the finish. And Dina Asher-Smith, who is a great 100-meter runner herself, wasn't able to hold her off for the first 100, so I knew Gabby was going to go away with it. What surprised us was over there in lane 3, look at Marilady Paulino in the yellow, who was able to really rally back. She was in about 4th place at that point, but the strength of the 400 really helped her to finish strong. She's going to leave here with 8 points, which is going to be a big deal.
Go through and look at the points table. Again, it's 12 for first. So there's even a more premium bonus over that. There's a 4-point gap between first and second. There's Gabby Thomas, Dina Asher-Smith in 6 points in third, all the way down to Nikisha Price, a really fine 400-meter runner with one. Should we just mention at number 7, didn't Stacey Ann Williams, she a Longhorn? She's Jamaican and a Longhorn. How is she not? She's a Jamaican and a Longhorn.
Who?
Stacey Ann Williams?
Stacey Ann Williams, yes. She is a Jamaican and a Longhorn. She will be. I love watching her compete. You know who also surprised me too was Salwa Eid Nasser. I thought she would run better here. She had a great meet about a week ago in the 2 and the 4. I thought she might finish second, and she was in good position, but she faded, and that's going to count for her because now she finished 4th. She's going to have to hope to win, and that Marilady finishes 3rd or 4th, which I don't think will happen. So the people who I thought would really factor here, Salwa Eid Nasser, Marilady Paulino. Marilady Paulino was the one who really stamped this event. And
here's what becomes different in Grand Slam. You got to go home now and you got to either sleep on the lead or figure out what I got to do in that 400, which is unique because it's not over.
So exactly, and they get a day to rest. I think is really great. They get an opportunity to rest and come back on Sunday to finish off their slam. But Gabby looks good, so I know she's going to be happy, and so is Paulino. All right, with that one done, we turn our attention to the men's long sprint. They're going to do the other half of it. They're going to start in the 400. And before we get into too many things with the guys, I just want to know, the wind is blowing out here. Okay, how do I get my mind right? Because it's a factor, and if I let that get in my head, that's a bad day. Yeah, the wind is a big factor in the 400, especially when it's in your face in the first part of the race, because that's where you really set up the 400 to run well. I always say if I'm going to have a headwind, give it to me on the home stretch because I'm already fatigued, and what I have left is what I have left. but sometimes it's really tricky in the first 400, the first part of the race to set it up. But these men are out here having fun. I forgot to tell you guys, John and Matt, I was at dinner last night, and I was sitting there with Vernon and Matthew Hudson-Smith, and they were talking so much smack and trash about this race. Vernon says this is his money, that $100,000 is his, and I was just excited to see that kind of friendly rivalry. Although they were really serious about it, that just makes this so much more fun to watch.
Take a look at what's happening in the call room, because after the men's 400 long sprint, we go to the long distance first race for the women. That'll be the 3,000. We did see a great look at
you got Muzala Samukonga from Zambia,
one of the most delightful men in the world.
That's true.
And B, and I know it's probably always bothered, it nags at him a little that he doesn't have an individual gold medal.
In the 400.
Or an individual. But yet, he is such an integral part of the relay wins for the United States. Literally rescued him in the preliminary in Paris. And he's just an invaluable guy.
Yeah, he's a great leader. He's a great leader on Team USA. The way that he just brings the whole team together. There's a calm about him that he really brings when you're around him, and I know that that makes a big difference, especially for Team USA, when you have youngsters and upstarts coming in the 4x4.
So a lot of us were all on Team Vern, Team Vernon Norwood. Muzala Samukonga is in this race, third in Paris. Matthew Hudson-Smith, Olympic Games silver, and many thought was going to be the guy that was going to win the race.
I mean, up until about 5 meters out or less, it looked like he had it.
Yes.
It was such an incredible race. I know that he's going to be thinking about that one for a very long time. But you mentioned it. This is one of our deepest fields. We have a silver medalist, bronze medalist, and Jareem Richards, who finished 4th in that 400-meter final in Paris. And Jareem, for me, just like Gabby, he's one of those athletes who has a great chance at this because he has a lot of success at 200 meters. And so he's going to be someone who's going to be a big factor in a slam like this, where he's going to be points for the 200 and the 400.
Yeah, he came of age as a 200 runner there at the University of Alabama. There's Christopher Bailey, who just went to China and won the World Indoor Championships in the 2-lap. He got out here and he said it was a little odd to not go around twice, and he had to get his bearings on the track, which sounds like ludicrous, but I guess is true.
Absolutely. I got a chance to chat with him too, and he said the confidence that he's feeling after first making an Olympic team and then going and winning an indoor gold medal, he's just in the best mentality that he could ever be.
Chris Bailey is fast. Do not sleep on Chris Bailey in this competition, especially in the 400 one-lap around. Taking us around that lap is Steve Crane.
Age of 31, running as well as ever. So lane by lane on the outside, we haven't really chatted about the very, very talented young man from Botswana, Kevin Atshipi. Made the semi-final at the Olympic Games. Is the Botswanan 400-meter champion, and if you knew the strength in that country in that event, that really means something.
You missed the first. You missed the first race we had.
Here is Chris Bailey in great
the men's
form.
400 meter.
Can he carry that indoor form to his first outdoor race here? Matt Hudson-Smith, he ran a relay leg last week in a 4x4, and he told me it was pretty swift. I haven't been able to find out how swift, but said it was quick, so really looking forward to this. Now, Samukonga, first saw him at the Commonwealth Games a couple of years ago, and he won the gold medal in brilliant style. He's just got better and better, bronze medalist at the Olympics. Jareem Richards, former world indoor champion, like Chris Bailey, but as I mentioned, great 200-meter pace as well. He's one of the favorites across these two events. And then Vernon Norwood has got so many relay medals, but in his own right, for the last year or two, really has been contending on the world stage as well. Xandrion Barnes. Well, Barnes knows how good Jamaica are in this event, but he is one of their best, certainly one of their bright new talents. And as indeed is DeAndre Watkin on the inside. 44-48 last year at the Jamaican Championships.
I'd say Jareem is somewhat of a dark horse, but not. Former 200-meter runner. Got a bronze medal at the World Championships, actually, in the 200, and then moved up to the 4. Just missed out on the medal at the Olympics. But I know all in all, Matthew Hudson-Smith is going to be favored in this race. Never seen Chris running the bandana before. Something new. Some attitude. Maybe a statement. Maybe he's a new man.
Yeah.
New look.
Right, just to remind you here, Bailey's in 7 there, inside Kebinat Shippey, Hudson Smith in 6. So Matt Hudson Smith likes to get out a little bit quicker than he used to earlier in his career. And Matt Hudson Smith into his running, but look out on the outside. Kebinat Shippey started very, very quickly in lane 8, not even in the shot there. Samakonga, who will finish strongly and always does, trying to hang on to Hudson Smith. Chris Bailey with a little bit of work to do at this point, because Hudson Smith definitely leading with that slightly forward-leaning action of his around the top bend. And now Chris Bailey starts to get going. Samakonga will finish quickly. Watch for the others on the inside. In lane 2, Barnes is going well. And Matt Hudson Smith just tying up here. And it's the world indoor champion with Vernon Norwood finishing quickly as well. It's going to be Chris Bailey going to take this one by a couple of meters. 44-34. Just outside his all-time best.
Yeah, he almost did his personal best.
Well, in these conditions, that is a phenomenal run. And I think that's maybe why Matt Hudson Smith is probably thinking, I wasn't expecting to go that quick.
Nah, that's rolling.
That is swift.
He's obviously in shape. That indoor season obviously paid off. He came here, he's looking sharp. And the way he responded coming into the home stretch is what really surprised me. Matt, jumped on everybody early.
Vernon Norwood and coming in third.
Chris showed that strength coming home by responding like that.
Chris Bailey getting those 12
flexing.
Points.
I think he's ready to establish that he's here. So what stood out to me is that Matt really got out, like I said before, but just as that replay started, you could see Chris visibly respond to Matt. And I think for Matt, feeling him move at that part of the race would kind of play with his head, kind of caused him to tighten up a little bit as he got into the home straight. When you're that hard, when you're that tired, to be able to respond to that part of the race, it's really difficult. It can play on your mind a lot.
You can see Matt trying to respond, couldn't you? He's trying to come back. He's thinking, I wasn't quite expecting this.
No.
I mean, Matt knows he's running well. You know, that's a good opener, 44.65. And Norwood with a 44.7 as well. Really, really good. But I think, when you've come off of championships, he's in great form. He's in great shape. The travel could have been an issue, but he's obviously overcome that really well. And he did what he does. He finishes so well.
He's got that gold medal swag off the World Indoor Championships. That was impressive. 12 major points. I don't know what to expect of him in that deuce, though. So he's really going to be holding on.
Matt is a good 200-meter runner. It's just whether he's in that shape to run a fast 200 in their second race. That second race for them will be tomorrow. So there's the standings from that first race in the men's long sprints. Chris Bailey, Matt Hudson Smith, and Vernon Norwood taking the points, and the others, well, they'll have to go quicker to pick up points in their second race.
That 4-point cushion.
So the men's long sprint, the 400, is finished. Chris Bailey comes through there. He's got the 12 points. It's curious to see now, right? Okay, 12 is never going to be bad. 8's probably right, but see how they all start cobbling these things together. He'll run the 200 tomorrow. What I'm wondering is, can he run the first half, his second turn, can he run that first? Because his back half of this race was phenomenal.
It's a good question, a good point. I just got to, first of all, give him so much credit. Chris Bailey, I had a talk with him yesterday, and he said that the championship, the indoor championship, made him feel like he belonged. And that goes a long way. When you feel like you belong and you start to get that confidence, that is how you race. He just beat the Olympic silver medalist to get those 12 points. So that was a pretty big deal and a very exciting race for him. Now, the question you asked is, what will he do at 200 meters? The good thing is he's given himself enough room with those 4 points that if he can be in that top 3, then he can win the slam. But, man, what a great first race for him. And he comes in as a challenger, John. He's not a racer. So he's going to want to continue to come to all of these races to be able to show his dominance. But I was really excited to see the indoor champion come outdoors and parlay that success here in the first race.
Sort of to piggyback something from when we had the pregame show that Matthew Centrowitz said about when you belong is that medal. Because Chris Bailey went to the Olympics, got in the final and finished 6th.
Yeah.
And yet it took that to figure out that he belongs in something like this. So the medal's key. and he gets one in China, and he has an Olympic gold medal from the 4x4, so certainly he's a guy, he belongs. For more information on Chris and his belonging, how he feels about the race, Radzi Chinyanganya is with the champion in the first race of the long sprints, Chris Bailey.
Thank you very much, Stephen. I'm delighted to do exactly that. Chris Bailey, history made, our first ever Grand Slam track men's race winner. That home straight, that was special.
Yeah, no, it felt really great. Once Matthew got up on the inside of me, I know I had to go. I'm not sure what my 200 was, but we'll work on that tomorrow.
And tomorrow is the word, because you've really put the cat amongst the pigeons here. What's your 200 like? Do you feel confident?
I feel really confident. You know, my excitement for this event is high. It's been 6 years since I've ran a 200, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Do we think you could potentially be our first ever Grand Slam track race winner or in fact Grand Slam champion in this event tomorrow and pick up an awful lot of money?
Who knows? We'll see after tomorrow.
All the very best of luck tomorrow.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, so we're about to have our women's 3,000 meters.
So challenge.
Real quick, 6 years since his last 200.
6 years. So I asked him if he was doing any speed work and training. He said he has. So hopefully that will pay off for him.
He's just got to remember to stop. You get to 200, you can shut her down. Next race on the track, women's long distance race one.
Yeah,
is the women's 3,000. Matthew Cindric, we're in your area now, brother. Take it away. You've been waiting patiently.
Finally, you know how hard it is to stay quiet over here?
I know, you don't like to stay quiet.
Well, listen, I got a chance to sit next to Emily Enfield on the flight over here a couple days ago. She got in literally 72 hours ago. She found out, she got the call, she took advantage of it. And I want to talk about this with the men's 5,000 as well. There's another challenger that came in very last second. So for all you competitors out there, professional runners, if you get a chance to just be an alternate, take advantage, as we've seen that they're filling them the same week. So I kind of want to take a look at some of the American women first.
Okay.
You know, Emily Enfield, Elise Cranny, and Whitney Morgan. Whitney, talking about that momentum from last summer, Whitney made her Olympic team, first Olympic team last year, makes the final, runs that into the indoor season, wins the Millrose game in a fast 8:28 flat, and then just misses one of the medals indoors. I think if she can stay in it, she's got a great kick. It's more of which Americans are going to go with this pace, which ones are going to run with the East Africans and can upset them towards the end. And so I'd like to see at least one, if not all of them, just put their nose in it early, and no matter what the pace, and just try to go with it.
So we've done the 200, we've done a 400, and now we've got a lot of races. Settle in. Women's long distance race number one is the 3,000. Back upstairs for the call of this race.
And once again, I'm supposed to play the DJ.
So, Carrie, what do you think? This is
always
the
Sports Network
races can be tactical, but these women are so used to these days having pace, maybe even lights, wave lights to get them moving. There aren't too many races, perhaps heats and championships, where you're just all looking at each other saying, okay, who's up for this? Who's going to take it on? And how much will how the race pans out today or this evening factor into tomorrow?
Well, I mean, I think this is an interesting, all of that is interesting, but also there's an interesting fact that some of these athletes haven't run on the track in a couple years. So there's so many factors right now, but I do think that the athletes that are coming from the longer distance, Elise Cranny actually ran the 10K last weekend, and we have some half marathoners in there. They're going to have to take it out because we have athletes that are very sharp. Elise Cranny, as I said, she ran that 10K last weekend, was very disappointed, but she still won it, ran really fast, 30:26, I believe, and she's just fired up. She wants to run so well, so this is exciting.
We got a
okay, then from the outside, as Carrie mentioned, Whitney Morgan, fresh again from those World Indoor Championships where she did perform exceptionally well. Missed out on the medals, but it was a pretty good race.
Whitney Morgan from the U.S. 5,000 meter finalist in the Paris Games.
Helen Ekelali there, but this is Sige Gebresalama. So she, I think, is going to figure here, even though it's 3,000 PBs not
Salama from Ethiopia.
As quick as some in terms of real top of the world. There's Helen.
2023.
Helen,
and also finals in 10,000 meters.
Last year. Just to give you a little bit of a hint, you can see their personal best down there as they're being animated.
5,000 meter finalists.
Well, a world record in Valencia, 10K on the roads at the beginning of last year, just followed that through all the way here with a phenomenal
in 2025
season.
For the European Indoor Championship.
In terms of experience, you can't get too much more experience than Taya. You know, she's run some of the best races in the US. I remember in Eugene running super fast 5,000 meters. And she's
from Japan,
a stalwart on the circuit. She doesn't win many races. That's the only thing I'd say. Her finish is a challenge, so you might see her taking it on.
Those, you know, usually when the long distance ones,
the
African contingents are usually the strongest. You know, but we have some U.S.
Cranny that we've already seen, and then we'll move on to the inside lane. We'll talk about leaders. Japanese athlete Tanaka, track fans will know that she's never fearful of going to the front.
She loves to race. She races a ton. Was in the States doing an indoor series there and ran PBs in all 3 of her races.
Like I said, so the ones with the R's, those are racers. Those are the ones who are part of the Grand Slam track circuit. And then the ones that are in the black and white, those are challengers.
But it is
so those are the ones who are coming in,
the sun has set,
I guess, on call.
Track. Still a little glint of sunshine in the upper stands. But in shadow now, a lot cooler.
We are off with the women's 3,000 meter.
Maybe no surprise that Gatic goes to the front here.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all. I kind of thought she would take it out, get established. You know, she's run very fast. She's run 8:32 over 3,000 meters, but that was from 2023, so it's been a long time. But she's hit the roads, and she's hit the roads very well. I mean, when she ran her last 10K, she ran so fast, and I just think that she will be able to come back to the track and get comfortable fast, but this is going to be an eye-opener for her tonight.
So the field just tucked in nicely behind her, and that takes the nerves away from everybody else. You know, it stops that sense of, well, we're jogging here, should I go at the front? So immediately she's these two are doing everybody a little bit of a favor.
Right now, Helen
Agnes with Helen behind her.
Ali from Kenya.
Just trying to, it's very hard to look down and see what pace they're going, but you watch that clock there, anything under 70 is okay, kind of, it's nothing that fast. Very, very much in the comfort zone of most of these athletes. And the clock didn't stop there, but I reckon it was around about 71, 72.
Yeah, and you know what I think is really neat about what Michael Johnson and the crew is really trying to do here is bring it back to race, and we've touched on it a little bit, but there's no pace lights, there's no pacers. You know, there's 2 long events within 3 days. A lot of these athletes haven't done that. In America, at the NCAA level, there's a lot of doubling up. In high school, we do that. But here, as professionals, you don't see a lot of doubles. So this is going to be interesting for the athletes. Yeah, they have a day off in between, but still, it's a lot of running in 3 days.
Gabri Salama just tucked in 3rd place. Taye just behind her as well. And she's not frightened to lead when she has to. And I mean, she's got a pretty good kick, but just when you get to the very, very top level, she often gets beaten by other teammates and 1 or 2 of the Kenyans over the years. And as I said, if you kind of look down at does she win races? And this is what this is all about. A slam, though, you could, 2 second places could be enough to win the slam. So these 4 already just pulling away a little bit from the rest. Taye, one of the challengers, as is Helen Ekelele.
I like Helen Ekelele. I think that what she has on her mind is that her dream is to run for her country. Her dream is to get to the World Championships next September. I mean, she's got a lot riding on this season. This is her opener. As we see Tsegay Gebrselassie move into 2nd. Now that she's got an interesting story. She's now full-time in Boulder with the On Athletics Club there, and she's running phenomenally. She actually had a very nice 3,000 meters indoors, but she did that 3,000 off of half marathon training. She ran a half marathon in February, and she looked really good on the road. So she's dabbling a little bit in both, seeing where she wants to be, but now focus is back to the track.
It's much more of a feature these days, though, that, you flip from the roads to the track across all the distances. And nobody's scared of doing a half marathon now. You've got 1,500 runners running great half marathons. Nobody's scared of the distance anymore.
Well, when you see a Sifan Hassan, be able to do so many events and do so well over them, it's kind of exciting to try it.
Does drafting really make a difference?
Drafting when it's windy, yeah. No, so the reason we have pacemakers is there's loads of studies been done on this over the years around the energy conservation by not being at the front. But there's also stress about being at the front. You know, you're trying to work things out. When somebody else is doing it, you don't have to think, you just slot in behind. So it's not just a physical thing, it's a mental rest as well, until the point where the person at the front is applying so much pressure, is going so hard, then you're into, it flips then, doesn't it? So it really depends on the front runner, their capabilities. You know, do they just run at the front? Are they surging? Are they making it quicker? So if you're just asking a question of is it easier to run behind somebody? Yes.
Okay.
I love right now what Agnes is doing up front. She's kind of stringing it out, but then it's like an accordion right now. They went hard and they eased off. They're surging, and that is the hardest way to race, especially a 3,000 meter, because this pace hurts no matter what. So look at how much space they put on in that last 200.
So these three well clear. Taya looks fairly comfortable. I have to say, Gebra Salama looks as though she's working a little bit to hang on to this. And then Gatic realizing that there were too many people perhaps in that group being allowed to contest the last couple of laps, which she wouldn't want. She won't really be fancying herself in a kick finish. So 3 laps to go. These three well clear already. And as Carrie said, that was really done in the space of 400 meters. But these points are important, so unlike other events where you might think, okay, they're done here, they're not involved, they're not in the top 3. They are running for points. And when we get to the 5,000 meters, it's going to be significant. They're going to still be trying to work to come as high up as they can in this one.
Well, what I think is significant about this race in particular, the first one out of the gate, right, for these distance runners, they do have to think about that. That second pack has to be strategic as well. Win the race you're in. If the 3 are out front and they are gone, win that second race, because guess what? We have another one, and that money accumulates the higher up you get over the 2 days. It's not just the 1 day.
Agnes and Gatic. Had a bit of an injury last year, had to withdraw from the Olympic trials. She had set her heart on getting to the Olympic Games, but sadly injury stopped her doing that. Then she turned, once she was fit, all of her focus onto the roads with great effect. Has said she wants to concentrate on the track in 2025, and this is where it starts for her. So it's going to be a real eye-opener for all of us watching, I guess, in the sense of, is she really going to be a contender on the world stage? We know she's strong. We know she's brilliant on the roads. We know she's quick there. Has she got the ability to win races on the track? Well, the pressure she's applying is not only having effect on the rest of the field, who are now 60 meters behind, there or thereabouts, but we've now lost Gebra Salama off that group, and only Taya trying to hang on.
Well, Taya is known to be the one to sit in this position in second and wait for that final sprint. She is one that is calm and collected. She's calculating things as she goes throughout the race, and she looks like she's kind of chomping at the bit. But right now, I think throw that time out the door and just sit and win this race. We'll have to see what she does here.
Right now it's Nagetek and
well, I did have a look before we came to this, and I don't think she's won a track race since 2022.
Yeah, it's been a while,
I
but
believe
she
this is the
wins.
final lap.
Yeah, but this Taya's sitting here just looking so comfortable, and Gatic has done everything she can. She set the early pace.
Well, let's see how
it slowed a little bit. She picked it up to break the field up, and she did that. And then she kept pushing and kept pushing. Look at the lap times. And she now is in a real battle royal here with Taya. The two of them locked together. The age-old battle between Kenya and Ethiopia on the track. And they normally say that Ethiopia outkicks Kenya. And has this happened here? Taya just finding a little bit extra. Doesn't always manage to turn on the speed. Not enough to beat some of her other compatriots. But this time, it's going to be enough. She's timed this perfectly. That Gatic did everything she could and will run hard to the line. But no doubt about our winner here. Taya just about hanging on. And Gatic is chasing, but she's not going to get there. Taya takes the win. 8:28. Those lap times are getting quicker and quicker. Almost sneaked up on us. That's a quick time. Gebra Salama in third place. Helen Ekelele will take fourth. We're looking down and watching them cross the line, because all of those positions will be important come the 5,000 meters. 10 seconds behind in third place, and then a bit of a gap to 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th.
I really liked how Taye raced. She kind of sat in that third position for most of the race.
Winning this race.
Slowly moving into second. Points. But watch this here. I saw a little bit of a side eye on the backside. And she waited, she looked at her, she waited, and then she went. Almost like she knew with 200 to go, she had it. She did really move hard on this turn. Coming into the stretch, I thought she had a lot of bounce. There was just a little bit of fatigue that happened with about 60 meters to go. And for a second there, I thought maybe Agnes Degedich was closing in to get her. But she had enough pressure there. Taye looked good, looked smart, won her first long distance event at the Grand Slam track event, and looks like she's going to be in good form come Sunday.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive. 64, thereabouts, 64 last lap, but nonetheless, it was more the build-up. They were running that off a pretty good pace. First K was at around 250, and then it just got quicker. So there is the confirmation of the points: 12, 8, 6, 5, 4 for Morgan, Cranny 3, Tanaka 2, Emily Enfeld with just the 1 point. But 8:28.42, that's a very, very quick start to our long distance slam. 5,000 meters, as I mentioned, will be on Sunday. So go away, rest, recover, and then
right now the challenges
they'll be
have
back for more the longer distance over 12 and a half laps. Fastest ever time in Jamaica
over the races.
For that 3,000 meters.
All right, Matthew Centrowitz, I'll handle the stats, 8:28 world leader. You handle the feel and the what happens.
Look, Taye came in with the fastest 3K PR. She's the most seasoned. I don't think that comes as a complete surprise. Agnes, on the other hand, hasn't touched a track in 2 years. The fact that she went out there, ran a PB, finished second in the shorter of the two that she's going to be racing this weekend bodes really well for her. So I don't think it takes a rocket scientist here to figure out that when we come back on the 5K on Sunday, that they're going to do the same thing. They're not going to wait around. I think the whole field is going to have to be prepared for a nice, hard race over 5,000 now. The fact that she came in here, got second in the shorter of the two, which is probably her weakest, look for her to actually make a splash on the win. If not, she's probably going to get second at the very least.
People wondered how the pace would go without an actual pace in the field, without the lights. You impressed?
Very impressed. Yeah, I mean, look at these times. A lot of these Americans haven't even run that fast ever, and they came out here with this win, fresh off the plane, race one. I'm pretty impressed. And again, a lot of these girls, 3 of them haven't even touched the track. They're now running on the roads to come out here and run that fast. I'm looking forward to a nice, fast 5K on Sunday.
All right, short distance will be next on the track. That's going to feed Jessica Hull. She obviously a great Olympics. So you come back here frequently. You were here till you were 12 before you went to the U.S. So when I'm here and I go to the vending machine, I'm like, what is in there? What can I get? A regular potato chip? Like, what should I be eating?
You should be eating Jamaican banana chips.
Okay.
You got to get some tamarind ball. You want to make sure you get a ting to drink, a grape soda. When you come to Jamaica, you want to make sure you eat all the food. Like, that is the highlights.
All right, we'll see. Now that's how you lay it out. We'll see what happened when Jess Hull took the, the snack challenge here in Jamaica.
Okay, Jessica Hull, and I am a short distance racer as part of Grand Slam track. Today I'm going to try some Jamaican snacks. We have banana chips to start off with. They're good. 6 out of 10. Just like nice and simple, nice and savory. Jamaica's been awesome so far. I love the heat. I love the humidity. I'm Australian, so it just feels like home. Usain Bolt's favorite. So let's see what we've got. Coconut cookies. So crunchy and delicious is the tagline, and they are lunchbox approved. I agree with Usain. We're in a country that truly embraces track. And yeah, I hope that means that we're going to get some good crowds and just some good support. Midnight grape soft drink. That's sweet and sour at the same time. Probably not my preference. I'm not a big soft drink person. I'd go 8 out of 10. That tasted pretty good. I'm just excited to get out there and race now. I've had nearly 7 months to think about the fact I was going to race to make hundreds this year as part of Grand Slams, so I'm just excited to get started now. Chocolate. This is always a winner. Soft caramel and crisped rice and milk chocolate. Okay, this sounds pretty good.
All right.
It's good. I'm definitely
our next
a sweet snacker. 10 out of 10.
Next race.
A team. Sparkling grapefruit flavored beverage. This sounds good. Oh, that's really good. I give a team 10 out of 10.
We have 4 racers and we have 4 challengers.
It's pretty insane to have someone like Michael, 4 Olympic gold medals, kind of just like giving back and building out a whole new league. Okay, fish. I don't know if I can even try this. I thought it was just tomato sauce.
The 4 racers are Mary Mora from Kenya.
I'm going to race a lot of women this year that I have never competed against.
The
I'm
reigning
nervous.
800-meter world champion. The Uribe.
Can't decide if I'm hungry or not. What I watch that. Get ready for short distance race 1, the 800 meters. Matthew Centrich is going to go through the lanes out there in 8. Sage Herta-Klecker from the United States.
Yeah, Sage has made a lot of U.S. finals.
Yeah, Nikki Hiltz.
She will definitely hope for probably a faster pace for this 800 as she comes from the strength side of things.
There's a former world champ in 7, one of the racers, Mary Mora.
Definitely one of my favorites in this race, although we haven't seen much from her this year.
You got this whole.
Lane 6 is Nikki Hiltz. They haven't lost a race at 800 in their last 6 races.
The Paris Games.
Impressive, but we have not seen them run all year, so it's a little hard for me to tell.
You got Danny
Dribi
Jones.
Weltelji,
the U.S.
That's quality.
Heather McLean.
Very. Another favorite in this race for sure.
Susan Ijori.
Jess Hall, now as we know, powered by banana chips. And what else did she eat there? What's the Usain Bolt
soda, she had ting, she had all the things.
One of my favorites over the weekend for sure. Got a chance to chat with her yesterday. She said, look for me to improve throughout the Grand Slam season. So maybe no fireworks today or even Sunday, but she will get better.
Lane 3, Jamaica, Natoya Gould-Toppin. For a country that doesn't have a bunch of 800s, to run 155 is an impressive record.
Very. She's a bit older in the field, but nonetheless, one of the faster PRs in the field for sure.
That's true.
In lane 2, another challenger, Heather McLean. 3 times sub-2. Gonna probably have to go quicker than that here.
More suited in the 800, but nonetheless, still going to be very competitive here in this field. And actually beat Susan, who we're now focusing on is indoor season in the mile. This is my sleeper pick right here, though. Susan, 157, one of the faster PRs, but she has been absolutely on a tear since last summer.
It's 8 lanes of sub-2 ladies in women's short distance race 1, the 800 meters. Steve Cram will call it.
Here's how many.
Get a sense of the pride of the Jamaican public.
They had
that was
some shoes. And here we go.
Gould.
Women's 800-meter short distance.
Well, the guys just watching them go off the line. Well, Tedji went off pretty slowly. Just we're looking to see who thinks, right, can I get away here? Jess Hull will always struggle a little bit for the pace in the first 200 meters. Looks like Heather McLean has started pretty quickly on the inside. So as they go down the back straight, they'll go through the first 200. Herta-Klecker just moving across. And Mary Mora has a habit sometimes of going to the front, then sort of slows it down and then goes again. But nobody allowing her to do that here. So she's took back in 3rd place on the shoulder of Nikki Hiltz.
Well, McLean leading right there. She was at the World Indoor Championships in the 1500, so she does have that speed right now. She's sharp, but I really like Susan Ijori with this double, the 8:15. She's got such strength. She can run a 5K, but she also is good over both of those distances. And here we go, lap to go already.
Last lap.
Nikki Hiltz decides to keep this pace going, but they're all bunched very, very tightly indeed. McLean just relinquishing the lead. Well, Tedji is well placed right up there. Jory just stuck on the curb. Jess Hull at the back, just trying to stay with his pace, but starts to make a move down the back straight. But where is Mary Mora? She's in 3rd place. The 800-meter specialist really needs to win this one if she's going to have a chance. Looks a little bit challenged for pace for me at the moment. Now Mora just tries to go with Hiltz, but the other athletes in front of her. Well, Teji in particular, just moving quickly, has clipped Jory, who's just gone back there, been balked. Jess Hull finds the gap. Mary Mora really struggling. So Nikki Hiltz out in front. Well, Teji and Hull, the 1,500 folks out in front here. Nikki Hiltz trying to take the win, but well, Teji trying to stay strong. Hull looking for room on the outside. Hiltz is hanging on. The line is coming. Is she going to get there? She gets it on the lane. 158.24. Hiltz wins the 8.
Nikki Hiltz with the win.
The 1,500 specialist took it to the 800-meter runners there.
This should not surprise anybody, to be honest. Hiltz has been running so well. Won the 1,500 and the 3,000 indoors for the U.S. Hiltz also has been one to double in meets, as I was saying in the lead up to this race before the gun went off. Hiltz is not afraid of doubling at meets. She's been trying, have been trying to get into meets to be able to practice what this is going to do or what this is going to feel like. Look at this.
Yeah, that is phenomenal. Well, Teji, 158.29. Jess Hull in third. A personal best at this distance. Really is phenomenal. 30 flat for the last 200.
Jess Hull with a personal best.
There was a bit of a clip there from Well Teji with Susan Joy. It's the rough and tumble of 800-meter running for me.
Very physical race, right? I mean, this is what it's all about. But for Susan Ajori to regroup and to come back, she finished very strong. But it affected all of those women, all of them in this race. So Nikki Hiltz, they did it again. Give them a little space in the last 200 meters. Almost like they get to regroup and pour it on. Held it up.
Hold on.
You know, these guys were all contesting the 1,500 at the Olympic Games. There was a little bit of a little bit of elbow right at the end there. So we was going to give that victory away.
We have one particular view. Like we have a creator
last 200
view, and then the main broadcast is on Peacock.
When you're in front and you control it, if you stay strong like that, it's really hard for people to get past you.
I think we've already gone through.
Very, very disappointing. That was her event. The defending world champion, and finishes all the way back in last place at 1 point.
Yeah, we already had the women's 200 meters. We had the men's 400 meters.
Congratulations to Nikki Hiltz.
The women's 3,000 meters.
Positioning.
And we just finished the 800 meters for the women. So next
12, 8, 6, those are the points for the top 3.
Men's
and then the others dropping down, as he said then. Rather surprisingly, as I mentioned, Mary Morrow with just the 1 point after finishing 8th.
All right, Matthew Centrich, I'm going to have you make sense of this for me, because the 800-meter specialist was last, and then 2, 4, and 7 in the Olympic 1,500 finished 1, 2, and 3.
It was choppy out there. You saw on the inside 150 to go, someone almost went down. Look, I'm super impressed with that race. You know, Nikki came in, the 800 was their weaker one of the 2. So to come out with the win bodes real well for them for this weekend.
How you feeling, Proper?
Also, I'd like to point out Jess Hull. If she came in here, who again is more suited for the 15 than the 8, and said, I'm going to be getting better with each slam and still squeeze out third, I mean, look out.
Yeah, I was super impressed too. This was a very gutsy run for Nikki Hiltz. We don't see them run 800 often, and for her to go out here and execute the way she did, you saw they fought at the end there to get across the finish line first. And I mean, what's in store for us in the 1,500? If the 1,500 ladies are running this well at 800 meters, it was incredible to watch, and the energy in the stadium really lifted. It was awesome.
World lead, PB, 158.23, a win by 0.06 of a second, 4-point difference. That's big going into the 1,500 race. Good look at Sydney McLaughlin Lavrone. When they announced this series, she was at the news conference, and there's a reason. She is one of the faces of track and field. Back after this.
Everybody in the 400 men hurdles. I'll give you a quick rundown of the field. You got the Jamaican leader in this event, in Malik James King. He ran a personal best 47.42 in the 400 hurdles. You got Alessandro Santos from Brazil, who ran a 46.29. Two-time Olympic bronze medalist. You got Caleb Dean for the U.S., who ran a personal best 47:23. Roshan Clark from Jamaica. You got Clement Ducos from France. And like I said, you got the Jamaican leader in Malik James King. You got CJ Allen from the U.S. Chris Robinson from the U.S. And Asini Wilson from Jamaica. So solid lineup for the 400-meter hurdles event. You know, all these races sub 49. So that just tells you how, you know, how deep this field is. And there you see Roshan Clark of Jamaica. Personal best of 47:34. This has been a good I guess this has been a good meet so far. You know, for the first inaugural Grand Slam track event. So your 4 racers, Dos Santos, Dean, Clark, and Ducos. And your 4 challengers, James King, Allen, Robinson, and Wilson. So I believe that.
The band Rising Suns started to perform before the races began today. You heard them sing the national anthem. They're the local roots reggae trio. A couple of them actually were in the biopic of Bob Marley, One Love, that movie in 2024, making their debut later this month at the inaugural Jamaican Woodlands Festival outside Ocho Rios. We have not lacked for tunes while we're here. Right? The stadium is hopping when it comes to, I don't know who's got the playlist here, but they're very good.
Here in Jamaica, I mean, this is the music capital of the world. One thing we should be getting is good
so
music.
So we will be broadcasting.
Well, especially in the men's long hurdles. Race 1, that's the 400-meter hurdles. Track. There's Clement Ducos, the Frenchman, who was 4th in the Olympics.
So we'll be back on here tomorrow at 6:30
Alison DeSantos is in here as well. He's the bronze medalist from Tokyo. That dude has run like sub 47, and he only can take 3rd because really this event is sick.
This event, I mean, in the last couple of years has gone to stratospheres we didn't even think was possible. And when you talk about the 3 men who have been driving that, Alison DeSantos is one of those guys. He is so good over the hurdles. I can't wait to see what he does here and also in the 400.
Race 1, 400-meter hurdles. Steve Cram with the call.
In their slam, the 400 flat to come on Sunday. On the outside, Malik James King, another very talented young Jamaican. You can see his personal best there, 47:42, set last year in the Jamaican Championships, which were of an incredibly high standard. Caleb Dean, as we've already mentioned, has the ability, has the times. Some of these young men are going to challenge, as Anson said, the big 3. Dean could be one of them. Ducos got just a sniff of what it might be like to get onto the biggest rostrums in the world, and he now knows he has the ability and has the capability. Well, he's been there, seen it, done it. He's a great character. He's very popular on the circuit. Alison dos Santos of Brazil. Won the World Championships in Eugene in 22. And for Roshan Clark, I'm sure there's going to be a great welcome here.
Yeah.
The Jamaicans have very high
That
hopes
Jamaican
for this young man.
They always
CJ
always
Allen will be
they
chasing
always
him
gonna
in
be deep.
lane 3.
Especially when they're at home.
Consistent 400-meter hurdler. Don't see him run the flat that often. That's going to be interesting come Sunday. Chris Robinson has run a reasonably swift flat 400 indoors this year. But this is first at his main event, 400 hurdles. And the aforementioned Wilson. He ran 48.68 and then 46.4 on the same day. So he's opened his season in 2025 in excellent form. But he's up against such a good field here. He finds himself in lane 1.
You run 47 something in the 4 hurdles. That's fast. You run 46 something, and that's moving. And you run 45 something. I mean, that doesn't make no sense.
So from the outside, Malik King, then Dean, then Ducos. Dos Santos is in 5, Clark's in 4, Allen in 3, Robinson in 2, Wilson in lane 1.
Set.
Dos Santos got out pretty quickly, but quickest out of the blocks was Dean in lane 7, and Caleb Dean taken 2-3 meters out of James King already. Down the back straight they go, and it's Dean who's gone out exceptionally hard. Clark's going with Dos Santos as well, right in the middle. And Dos Santos and Clark chasing the American, but Caleb Dean has started very quickly. Can he hold this? Strike pattern also important. And look at Dos Santos gliding round that top end.
There
the
goes
Brazilian
Dos Santos
looking
of
grim.
Brazil.
Sean Clark just
What up,
checking
Marcus?
there as he changes down. And then we just watch Wilson on the inside. So Dos Santos, one more
Hey,
barrier to
somebody
clear.
fell.
Clark clear in second. CJ Allen in third at the moment, but well clear of everybody else.
Dos Santos.
It's going to be Dos Santos to take the win. 47-63.
I
Dean
hate
rallying to get
seeing
up
that
there
happen,
for third. Well, he made that look a little easy compared to what others were doing.
It looked like Ducos
A lot of guys
pulling
went up
up lane
pretty
2.
hard there, including Dean, including Clark.
So Dos Santos
We
finished in
lost Wilson,
47.61.
and others were faltering in the home straight. But I think
Roshan
he'll be
Clark
pretty pleased to
finishing
have taken the win there.
48.20.
He'll be
Caleb
happy with
Dean,
that opener. 47.6.
48.58.
Early April.
That's a man's race.
I mean, he's
Listen.
out here. So obviously we have to
Listen.
see what he can do, and he can obviously see what he can do himself. I think as a
I'm
competitor,
good, man. I'm good.
you want to be able to
Just
establish
chilling.
yourself. So for him to come out here, there's no Karsten, there's no Rye. He gets to put his name out there. The thing about Dos Santos is he'll take 12 strides between hurdles, which is unheard of. Most people are around 13 or 14 strides. And when you do even numbers of strides between the hurdles, you have to alternate. Very, 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 very tricky. You get to the home stretch, he'll do 13 strides, and that'll be same leg.
Bro, they got it, bro.
Ultimately, you want to be able to hold on in this last 100-meter straight. It's debatable which
What's-
race is harder.
what's
between
crazy
the
is
four,
that
the open
Buddy
400 and the 400
fell.
hurdles. But he's able to
Buddy
do both.
fell, right?
And obviously very strong coming
And
home.
still was able to get up
And he's taking the first punch amongst the big
and
three.
still finished 7th.
I'm pretty sure I was his lucky charm because I sat next to him on the airplane over here.
Yeah. Eh?
So, you know, he was pretty fired up that he got to sit next to
That
me.
works. That works.
I think it was the opposite. I was fired up. I got to sit
Well,
next to him.
I appreciate that, Marcus, man. For real.
Well, we'll
appreciate
hand
that,
this
bro.
victory to you.
Uh-oh.
Oh, he's already talking about that paper.
Yeah, he was excited about it.
Well, he's such a good flat runner as well, so yeah, why not? Why not? Just to confirm that 47.
Only race you track that no matter how slow
Wilson
you
did
run, how slow
finish,
you run, or how
as
fast
indeed
you run,
did
it hurts to
Ducos.
say.
I couldn't quite see what happened to him, but he was out of it really early.
Man,
Just
Dos
jogged
Santos
in.
say, I want that money. I want that paper. Give me them points and
So
give
the
me
big
that
points
paper. 12
went
points
to
going
Dos
to
Santos, probably as expected,
Dos
but he
Santos' way.
did look very, very good indeed. Rashawn Clark came back, hung on there, and so did Dean, taking the 8 and the 6.
What up, WWE fans?
All right, I agree with Steve Cram. Alison Dos Santos winning, probably not a shock, but when you're a favorite, you still have to go out and execute. And he ran a beautiful race.
It was his opener of the season, and 47.63. Those are times that used to win world championship titles. So these men are making light work of times and races that used to be very difficult to execute at 400-meter hurdles. And he was so smooth he was the semifinals in Paris, bro. I was also really impressed with Rashawn Clark of Jamaica. He made the final in Paris, and he was actually battling for that third
over here.
and fourth
He fell.
spot with
Finished
Allison
7th.
dos Santos and fell
So
in the final stretch of the 400-meter hurdle final in Paris. But man, did he look good. He was closing well.
Duclos was fourth
in the final phases of the race, and he's
Olympics,
really good about this too.
Yeah, he was good through
But
the
it
first
looked like
200
he pulled.
of the race there before dos Santos came through. And Caleb Dean, the American, the youngster who was the NCAA champ last year, finishing third for 6 points. So a good showing for him as he started. Told me he thought I can run something 48 mid. 48.55. That's about as 48 mid as you can get. Next race up is the women's long hurdles, the 400-meter race, which means we'll see Sydney McLaughlin Lavrone, which whenever you can see Sydney, that's a big thing because she doesn't race very often. Make your schedule how you want to do it. When she's here, it's a treat, which is kind of funny because it's a treat that got her started running when her dad gave her a candy bar.
Coming up next.
My name is Sydney McLaughlin Lavrone, and I run the 400-meter hurdles.
Bro,
I'm from a small town in New Jersey called Denellen. I am one of 4 kids.
Sydney McLaughlin Lavrone.
I grew
There
up
she go
in
right
a
there.
track
There she go. There she
family.
go.
All of my parents ran track. All of my siblings ran track. So it's really just been
Double
I think
Olympic
part of my
champion
life
in the
since I was
400-meter
very, very
hurdles
young.
and the
We did all
4x400
different kinds
meters.
of sports. We did
In
basketball,
Tokyo
soccer,
and in Paris.
dance.
All right.
But
we
track
already know
for me
Sydney
was the
McLaughlin.
one
Right?
that just
We
stuck
already
out.
know. Right, personal best.
I feel like I always knew I wanted to do this.
You got Dahlia,
Maybe consider going into like
Dahlia
sports
Muhammad.
broadcast if I couldn't actually do the sports themselves. But I always knew I wanted to be around competition. Just a
Jasmine
sense
Jones
of
of the
freedom
USA.
when I'm running that I
This
just
is really
didn't
USA
get when I was
versus
doing other
Jamaica, bro.
sports. I would say
You
my
got
dad
Sydney
knew from a
McLaughlin
young
from the
age,
US.
but once I
You
got
got-
to high
you
school
got
and I
Dahlia
started
Muhammad from
racing
the
girls
US.
3 years older than me
You got
and just
Jasmine
seeing
Jones
what I
from
was
the US.
capable of
You got
doing
Rochelle
off
Clayton
of
from
the
Jamaica.
God-given
You
ability,
got
I was like,
Shianne
oh,
Salmon,
okay, I see what you're talking about now.
Jamaica. Andrew
I
Knight
think
from Jamaica.
making that Olympic team
Sandra
at 16
Tate
for me just
from the US.
solidified,
And
okay,
then you
this
got
is
Catlin,
what you're meant to do.
Catlin Peters.
I think
from
when
the
you're a
Netherlands.
teenager and you have the world looking at you, they almost want you to grow up in that very instance, but it's a natural progression. And I think I've really just had to learn to grow at my own pace. Track is one of those things. You get one chance when you step on the line. The gun goes off. There's no next play. You have to figure it out for yourself. You're figuring out your coach. You're figuring out your trainer. You're figuring out your nutrition. And there's a lot to juggle there. I am now getting paid to do what I love. And I get to go to the track every day and train and lift and wanted to do this since I was 8 years old. And now I'm here.
Love it. And that's why she's one of the best in the world.
There's Sydney walking onto the track. Sonia Richards, Ross, 6 times she's lowered the world record. 2 Olympic gold medals. She's got a world champ. Like, what's the most impressive thing about her? And not just, stat-wise.
Man, I just think of her as a generational talent. She truly is one of one. She was one of the youngest ever to make an Olympic team. And it seemed like ever since she made the Olympic team at 16 going to 17, she just truly locked in and was able to be her best every time. I think what makes her special is that she's able to run her best when it matters most. To show up at an Olympic final, a world championship final, and run world records every time, I think people don't understand how difficult that is because your primary focus is to win the race, is to win that medal. But to do that at your best every single time, that's what makes Sydney McLaughlin Lavrone so very special.
Matthew, I know she's not a distance runner, but you got to be able to appreciate greatness.
Back in 2016, when she just made her first Olympic team, my cousin was there at the USA Track and Field Awards and asked if he could take a picture with her. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know much about her at that time, and I walked up there.
Now.
I walked up there, so calm and collected. She was gracious. Now I'd be shaking to go ask her for a photo for my cousin, let alone myself. So,
if you don't know, you know. So she's only 25 and has a wonderful resume. The other person in this race that's an Olympic champion from the United States is Dalilah Muhammad, who at the press conference yesterday announced that she was retiring. This is her last season. I don't know what else you could do in a career from Dalilah Muhammad, but if you give us some perspective, some appreciation of what she's done.
Yeah, I think Sydney did a great job in the press conference yesterday, giving Dalilah Muhammad her flowers. Dalilah walked so that Sydney could run. She was the first woman who broke that the world record that stood for so many years, that made Americans and young ladies think it was possible to do that. She's a world record holder. She's an Olympic champion. She's a world champion. You talk about such a decorated career. For many of us, she was such a great inspiration. And so it's awesome to have her back on the track here, and to see her in her swan song is going to be really fun to watch her in the 400 and the 400 hurdles here.
As we talk to Sydney, who has set the world record 6 times. When Dalila Muhammad wrote it, it had stood for 16 years. So we think of it now, it's commonplace. When she did it, it was really an earth-shattering and notable thing. Can't wait to see her race here. Race 1, 400 meters.
25, yo. Like,
Let's go through them lane by lane from the outside. It's going to be Cassandra Tate.
And the thing about that, when she locks in, she locks in, yo.
Bronze medalist at the World Championships. Right on the outside. Then Adranette Knight. Jamaica, again, with such good heritage in this event. It's always hard just to make the Jamaican team for the Worlds or the Olympic Games. She just missed out.
Locked in, bro. She's all, listen.
I was running 60 hurdles already this year.
That's the course, bro.
Tune up for this.
You want to learn about locking in? Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, bro. That's it.
Number 10 in the world ever at this event.
And she does it with a breeze, bro. Like, you remember how, like, Usain
got a great
will run the 100, right?
I'm sure the
and he was just like, bro, I'm chilling.
Will give her an equally good welcome.
Bro, I'm chilling.
Superstar of our sport.
Right? Bro, I kid you not, bro. My man, I felt like Usain, bro. Usain really locked in.
That she's got incredible
ability
in this event.
As much as he did, bro.
52.97.
That man could lower the 100 meter and the 200 meter easily.
That was last year in Zurich. Kathleen
Bro,
Peters,
literally a phenom
the Dutch
for sure.
athlete who's
in every
come
sense
from
of the word.
Indoors, where she helped the Dutch to gold medal in the 4x4
she is
relay. She ran the
amazing.
third leg, handing over to Femke Bol, often the challenger
when they legit say
Sydney McLaughlin
she's a one of one,
and indeed,
that is an absolute fact.
A little while ago, Dalila Muhammad. So Muhammad on the inside in lane 2. We only have 7 athletes in this particular race. Wouldn't it be great to see Muhammad kind of rediscover some form of old in what she's already said is her final year?
It would be. So the last person to beat Sydney McLaughlin. And it took a world record to do it.
All right.
The last 2 times she beat her.
Women's 400 meter hurdles.
So
world record holder Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone. You got Dalila Muhammad.
See what happens today.
In her final race season.
Levrone in lane 5.
This is gonna be good.
Clayton and Knight, the 2 Jamaicans, in 6 and 7. Salmon also in 4.
There we go.
Sydney McLaughlin starts pretty quickly as expected, but Rochelle Clayton's holding her through the first hurdle, just maybe a meter or so, not even that. The 2 of them going down the back straight, almost stride for stride, although McLaughlin-Levrone just forging ahead down the back straight into 200 meters. Clayton going well, others just starting to falter a little bit. Salmon a long way back. Dalila Muhammad trying to work hard in lane 2 to get on terms. Clayton doing a level best to hang on to the American here, but McLaughlin-Levrone doing what she does best.
Look at the gap, bro. Look at the gap,
Muhammad moving
bro.
through in lane 2 as well. But they're a long way behind.
Bro.
McLaughlin-Levrone over the last hurdle. Storms on now. Just watch the clock here. See what she's going to give us here in Kingston. 52.76. Muhammad with an excellent run in lane 2 to take 2nd spot. And others perhaps suffering from going out hard with the best in the business.
Like Sydney's like, yeah, okay, another day in the park. Like another day.
Really strong
Sydney
performance.
legit was like, clock in.
This is the result we expected. I thought Muhammad ran really well to come through in 2nd place.
Props to Dalila Muhammad, though.
Necessarily
54-59 going to get in 2nd place.
The Americans getting a 1-2. Almost days of old there.
And Rochelle Clayton.
Well, this
Jamaica
is the fastest time ever
3rd.
run in April that Sydney got. I was wondering if she was going to get the fastest time ever run on Jamaican soil. Just outside of that, held by Rochelle Clayton, who's in this race. But Sydney's a special 400 meter hurdle runner. She alternates for 7 hurdles, running 14 strides between, which is pretty unheard of. You got to be moving to be able to do that. Coming home, she'll let her stride shorten up a little bit, but she was clear of the field. I was pretty sure she was going to take it easy in this first race because early season, she knows she doesn't have to do much to win. and then she can try and put something down in that 400 tomorrow to secure the bag.
That's crazy, bro.
Ultimately,
That's
at some point, I want to see her
power,
crossover
bro.
with some of the faster women in the 4, you know?
You know, it's a measure of her ability. There's so many women in the world would dream of running 52.76.
I was just counting her strides right now. That's insane, bro.
Not working like, you know, with everyday performance, just easy, just comfortable. She was looking at the clock.
I was getting in Cape Town. I'm good. I'm doing good, man. Doing
It
good.
looked like a stroll.
Cape Town, man.
Crowd loving her here.
I've always heard good things. I've heard good things about South Africa, man. I would love to go one day.
52.76 a winning time.
Oh, yeah,
Mohammed,
she's
a really
chilling,
good
bro.
Second 54.
She is
59.
chilling.
They did hang on just from her teammate in third.
And then the thing about it's like this, right? If she's able to still keep up, you know, with
And all
like
of
with,
that
you know,
confirmed,
her
12
physical
points, 8 points,
and her,
6 for the
her
top
diet
three.
and her health,
Knight
bro,
just
she
missed
has
out by
like
a couple
another
of
good
hundred there
10 years.
from her teammates. But that 400
Right?
flat
But
to
technically,
come
you know, like
on
10 years is
Sunday.
like, that's like what, another 2 Olympics? You got like another 2 Olympics to go, you know. And then if you're doing heats like this,
Right, so
you got
the
other races and
winners
other world
expected for Sydney.
championships and
Radzi,
whatnot.
she looks
Like,
happy enough.
she's going
Sydney
to be here for
McLaughlin-Aroni,
quite some
that
time.
was majestic. How was it running it?
You know, just shaking the cobwebs off. Obviously, that first one always hurts, but
Pull up,
happy to
that's
be here.
your one to
Great
leave?
experience.
What about the noise, by the way? The horns,
You know,
the
I gotta
drums,
get
the
approval
whistles.
from my
Does
wife
it make a
first.
difference?
Absolutely. It gives you energy. You feed off it. Helps you run fast.
So we have 3 days of action. It culminates in the third day of the 400 flat. How are we feeling about that?
Ask me tomorrow. I'm gonna let this one soak in first.
Good luck. Thanks, Sydney.
Yo, she's, my man say, yo, how you feel about the 400 meters? Yo, ask me tomorrow, fam.
I said she looks happy. Do you think so? Is she hard on herself
Melancholy.
sometimes?
Melancholy. Might have been a bit tired. Yo, just having Sydney here, whether she's smiling or not, I'm good with it, man.
Yeah. And she's such a good 400-meter runner as well, so that one to come. Actually, that will be our last race of the whole Grand Slam weekend on Sunday.
All right, what we got next?
So 2 more events to come. We got the men's long distance, the 5,000
Oh, the
for
5,000
men.
meters.
And then the speedsters will be out for the men's 100 in the short
Everybody
sprint.
enjoying now in Kingston.
Just to keep reiterating, 2 races, each slam, $100,000 first prize.
Yeah, man, I
Points you
gotta
get
pull up to
across the 2 events.
There I go,
Decide the winner. Our racers and our challengers. Anybody can win the prize. It doesn't matter. The racers are designated thus because they will be at all of the Grand Slam events. 4 Slam events. Miami coming up, Philadelphia and LA over the next few weeks. And then the challengers, well, they're going to chase from. They're going to chase.
I believe if
from
everything
slam
goes
to
well,
slam.
we will be showing
Got any moves,
the
Carrie?
Miami.
Oh, I sure do.
We should be,
I'm up
we
here
should be
dancing
showing
away.
all
The
of
music has been great. The
Grand
DJ,
Slam
we had
track,
an awesome band
events.
in the beginning of the show. I mean, it's been so
if
much
that's
fun.
the case, I will not be showing it on. I will
leave
not
that
be
to
showing the
you.
Philadelphia one, which will be the third
I'm
event.
happy with my feet
because
on the
I will
ground.
be in
Oh, you can still
Houston.
move with your feet on the ground. You just gotta move the hips.
Yeah, well, they've done some moving over the years. They're not as good as they used to be.
But yeah, but they're in Kingston
All right, let's
tonight.
move on. The men's 5,000 meters.
5,000 meters. Yeah, so they're in
12
Kingston
and a half
tonight.
laps of the track.
I
Our
think the
races
beginning
in
of May
this.
they'll be in Miami,
Ronald Quemoy,
and then Philadelphia,
Hajos
and then
Gebriwet,
finish off in Los Angeles.
and the man of the moment in terms of distance running, particularly in the States, Grant Fisher. Grant just jogging
Oh
out
yeah,
there
Grant
with his
Fisher,
two
bronze
racing
medalist.
pals, Quemoy and Gebriwet. Going to be a really good race, this. And what I love there is we go home to grab a word with Grant, and he's gone straight off, made Radzi's job a little harder. You saw him get moved there. Bit slow off the mark, I felt, Radzi. Anyway, he'll get there in a second. Has he caught up? Radzi, have you got him yet?
Grant Fisher, you've had the preparation of dreams coming into this. Prestige on the line, prize money on the line. What's going through your head?
Hey, pride on the line too, so it's about to be a good one. A lot of unknown going into this, and I'm ready to go.
We can't wait to see it, mate. Good luck.
Yeah, thanks.
What I love about him right now is that he's cool,
This is
calm,
Grant
and
Fisher's
collected.
outdoor
Like he
season
just
debut,
wants to get
by the
out there
way.
and race, and
But,
he's fired up
yeah,
about
Grant
it.
Fisher,
He's done
Olympic,
so well over the last couple
Olympic
years.
bronze medalist
Lots of changes
in,
in
the
his life. We'll get into
5,000
it,
meters
but excited
and the
for this
10K
race.
from Paris.
Well, he's got a couple of very, very high-quality athletes against him. Well, more than a couple, but
You know,
a couple
current
aware
world
of,
leader.
let's put it that
with
way.
with a
So
personal
the
best
full
of 12:44,
lineup here, Philippe
09.
Thibodeau from Canada. Grant Fisher will line up on the start line in position 2.
You know.
And Deacon Wenyayo,
well, we got
running for Spain.
We got a pretty solid field here, too. We got
3. Ronald Kwemoy, former 1500-meter runner, has kind of moved up through the ranks. Been watching him for many, many years.
Has been the closest.
Going really well at the distance events.
The closest to the world record held by Joshua
I always enjoyed watching him race over the years, and he seems to have found another part of his career, really performing so well over the last couple of seasons.
And was a 2023 world champion.
There's a great story about Talahun Bekele, which we'll get into once we get going here.
Ethiopia.
And then Dylan Jacobs and Cooper Tier, 2 very good Americans.
Nah, that's facts, proper. I definitely have become a fan of the long distance run, for sure. You got Thierry.
So penultimate event.
Was it Duque?
They get the chance to. I say the chance to come back for 3,000. There's always something pleasurable, and that will be on Sunday. So Coupeteer.
Yeah, so he's representing Spain. He was born in Burundi.
Coaching
but changed
setup.
his allegiance in 2023, so he runs for Spain.
These
yeah,
days.
he does. With Ben Thomas, their coach,
and then you got
on the East Coast
now.
now.
from USA.
Dylan Jacobs went to the World Indoors in China.
What's an Oregon?
I was mentioning this guy. He ran an incredible 10,000 meters last week, but he missed the start.
Yep.
Had his first
and he essentially ran 10,080 meters and still ran an incredibly fast time. More of that as we go through this. Gabriel, former world champion.
You got Charles Philippe.
He only missed the whole of the 2022 season 3 years ago, and some people thought he might never get back to the sort of form he had as a youngster. But he's
let
done
y'all know, man. Grand Slam track,
as I mentioned,
the
great
best
range,
of the best, yo.
Silver medal at the Olympic Games in this event, the 5,000 meters. Deacon Wenayo moved to Spain. I think he got clearance a couple of years ago, and the former Burundi man proud to wear the vest of Spain these days. Grant Fisher in such great form last year, but goodness me, has he carried that on into 2025. World records indoors, and we'll line all that up for you as they get going. And Philippe Thibodeau. So 12.5 laps of the track. I mentioned earlier it's got a fair bit cooler than it was earlier in the evening, so pretty good conditions for these guys. And if anything, the breeze has just about disappeared as well, because that's what
a lot of these a lot of these runners are. This is their outdoor season debuts. And here we go.
So no pacemakers again.
Men's 5,000 meters, long distance.
Normally used to it. In the 3,000 we saw Gatic go for it. 7.5 laps. 5,000, it's a brave man who takes it on from the start.
Yeah, I mean, you have to know who can wind it up, and we have a lot of guys that can wind it up in this race. But I do think that the one that we were talking about, Grant Fisher, the guy that's just been so sharp this indoor season, I think he can run either way, and that's what's going to be interesting tonight. I don't know which way he'll run. He probably will sit in this position and just dictate what's going on around him, because everyone's thinking about Grant Fisher right now.
But he's quick as well, but if you kind of looked at some of the great 5,000, 10,000 meter runners in recent times, Gabriel's right in there. Makes the Ethiopian team. That's number one. That's a hard thing. And then he's got pace as well. Doesn't always outkick, who's going to outkick Ingebrigtsen in a 5,000 meters, for instance. But Fisher's kind of the same, I think. I think they're really well matched, these two guys, in terms of their ability. Fisher's probably in the best shape right now. But if they were in a flat-out race, and I saw them at the end of a race, I sort of get the feeling that it would be a good match.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're very strong, but also speedy. The thing that Grant Fisher has said is that he's really tried to work on that finishing kick. And we saw that indoors. I mean, he raced Cole Hawker, who's been running so well and really put a lot into the indoor season. And Grant Fisher took it to him the last 200 meters indoors in Boston, where he ran that world record in the 3,000. So he's got the leg turnover. They are walking right now.
Let's just talk about what happened to Bekele last week. So you ran. You look at the result and it says 26.52, which is a world class.
Yeah, anytime under 27, right?
100%. However, They were lined up on the start line, and then one of the athletes had realized he didn't have his number. So they all kind of went off for a bit of a jog while he got his number sorted out.
Yep.
But Keely and another athlete had gone all the way down the straightaway, 100 meters from the start of the race, and all of a sudden they called him to the line, and the gun went. He was 80 meters behind, and he gets up and he runs 26.52. So that's kind of a 26.40, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, and that for him, he went out in 60 seconds for the first lap of that race, and then for him to calm down, regroup, get his head back in, a long race, 10,000 meters is no joke. So he's obviously got the head on. His head is on right now, and I'm excited to see how he runs tonight. Cooper Teare now into the lead. Cooper is a phenomenal athlete. He ran under 13 minutes indoors in Boston with Connor. With Cole Hocker. There's a lot of Coles and Coopers and all these. But these two training together, and now Cooper Teare to be in front is not surprising. He wants to have a solid race. He wants to have an honest pace out there. And I'm not surprised to see him in the lead.
Yeah, 2:57 through the first kilometer. That's slow for these guys. In fact, very, very slow. But that's not a surprise. This is about racing. This is about working out the best way for this race to unfold for you. And if you're not interested in a fast pace, if you're trusting your kick, you're nowhere near the front. Hence Quemoy, look where he is towards the back. Look where Gebriwet is towards the back. They'll keep an eye on Grant Fisher. He makes any moves. But so far, the guys who we think may well contend at the end, happy just to watch. So Cooper Teare leading them. Just dropped from a 71 to kind of a 69, but that's still fairly comfortable running, very comfortable running for these guys.
Yeah, they're running 2:57 through that first K. That's, that is pedestrian for these guys. That's slower than their threshold.
Yeah.
But yeah, Cooper Teare, I asked him how things were going, and he said things are going really well. They train differently with Ben Thomas. And as we mentioned, Cole Hocker, 1,500 meter specialist this weekend, running the 8 and the 1,500, but they train a lot together. They do a lot on the bike. They run hard. They're not these high mileage guys that, just have a bunch of junk miles in their legs. They are more about intensity. So they're in their training zones. They know their zones. They almost train more like triathletes.
Just a little move from the back from Diku Wenayo, who just got a little closer, just tucked in though behind Bekele, fourth, just ahead of Grant Fisher. I think it's slowed again, hasn't it?
It looks like it's really slowed, but the one to really watch, Quemoy, was one of the guys that really had a phenomenal last 500 meters. Now in the 5,000 meters, sometimes you see the last mile is super quick, or you see the last 1,000 and even the last 400. But at the Olympics in Paris, he was the guy that just got himself back in the race. He was way back, I believe, in 13th position. And then he moved all the way up to second, and just had a phenomenal race there.
Yeah, I mentioned, remember watching him as a 1,500 meter runner, and a lot of the Kenyans do move through the distances, but a lot of them, they become 1,500 meter specialists, and he looked like he had all of the credentials to be a great 1,500 meter runner. Never quite got the big breaks, if you like, and he was around when your Timothy Cherry was dominating from his compatriots. So I think that performance last year, as you mentioned, was definitely the race of his career up to this point.
Well, slowing way down again. I mean, they're down to 75-second laps, which again, I know we're not talking so much about time, but when you're running that slow, you have to mention it. This is all about points, and they're playing the game.
And this is where nerves can tell. You got to hold your nerves, like a poker game. It's slow, you don't normally race this. And what can happen as well is when it's unusually slow, you can feel worse. You can start to convince yourself, I feel terrible here, but it's because you're not running at a normal, comfortable pace. And those little mind games start to play.
Well, they have to keep in mind that, there are some athletes out here that have run 5s and 10s for a long time, but they still have speed in their legs. And, a Grant Fisher is a guy that's run very well over 1,500 meters. He's run 3:13 33 in 2025. So, you know, that's through, that was in that 3,000 meters that he did that. So he can run fast. So you don't want to forget that. You know, he has the wheels, he has the strength, but so does a Cooper Tier who's out there. He has run very fast over 1,500 meters. He's a U.S. champion at one point. He was an NCAA champion in that as well. So just very, very fast, very, very solid runner. And just, I think Cooper Tier really hasn't gotten the accolades that he should have, or the praise that he should get.
Yeah, he ran pretty swift indoor 5K, but he was outkicked by his training partner, Cole Hocker, as he said. So again, going back to that point, of the 1,500 guys can run 5,000s, the 5,000 guys can run 1,500s.
Well, that was the slowest of all, but now you can see, just look at their rhythm starts to pick up a little bit. They went from a 78 to a 74, excuse me, that last lap. So they are now starting to get going just a little.
Yeah, but clearly deciding enough is enough, you know, and he could finish, but he knows the caliber, the quality of the guys behind him. And he's gone to the front, but he hasn't really done anything. You know, I always think if you make a move like that at this point, he steps aside, he says, okay, I got out in front here. Maybe he thinks it's a bit breezy, I don't know, but he's not really interested in pushing the pace here.
Well, Bekele is definitely a very good 5,000 meter runner. He's been under 12:50 4 times in his career. He doesn't run them very much because he's running all these other distances, but very good. He was 4th at the 5,000 in the World Champs at Doha in 2019. So, you know, getting back to this, now asking for someone else to take the lead.
Well, while you're watching this toing and throwing at the front, really, just look at the back. Gebruet just jogging, keeping quiet, keeping calm, just keeping away from everything. Quemoy a little bit the same. Fisher just getting crowded a little bit, just give a bit of a nudge. And for the first time, Quemoy moves around the outside, maybe thinking 2K to go. Just want to cover, be near the front. If anyone makes a move, I want to be able to quickly step up. Finds himself in the front, but again, not doing anything, just leading.
Well, Gebruet is the second fastest 5,000 meter of all time. He's run 12:36, so he is so good at this. Everyone is thinking about him in this race right now, and they should be very worried because he was 5th at the Olympic Games, but he had a huge kick. And so he's a huge threat, and I think that people need to now start thinking about how do they run that out of him.
Well, they went through 3,000 in 9 minutes 8. And I'd probably be stretching things to say I might have been able to keep up for a bit. Probably not. But yeah, that's very slow. Really slow. But that's what this is about. So after a little bit of a kind of pace lift from Cooper Tier, it's just been easy, cat and mouse. Gebruet right at the back. Something's going to crack here. Somebody is going to think, you know, I can't leave this to the last 400, the last 500. And away Quemoy puts his foot down, as I say. Not in a way which makes people panic. I thought he was going to go for it there. Just had a little bit of a surge. And
almost
then
near
he's
the
just
tail
checked back
end
again.
of
Well, Quemoy has been
5,000
good for so long. I mean, for 10 years, this man has been able to run very fast. He's gone through his ups and downs. He's had injuries. He had to go away from the sport a little bit, came back, didn't know if he was going to come back to the sport. But he ran 3:27 as an 18-year-old, and then he did again last year as a 28-year-old. So has had a long career here and still looks very sharp.
Yeah, and that was the point I was making earlier on. You know, he was such a good youngster. He was so good. And everybody was looking at this career ahead of him. And, you know, he had all the credentials, could kick, was strong, was fast. And he kind of started to fall away a little bit. And as I said, in 22 when he got injured. But he's been, last 2 years, has been phenomenal. Right, is this moving now? Again, another little look at the front from Bekele. 3 laps to go. Still, all 8 men tucked together. He could just about throw a big blanket over them. It would have to be quite a big one, but nonetheless, he could probably just about do it.
Well, now it's about positioning and actually staying patient. You know, when you are someone like a Grant Fisher, who we were talking about early on, being in that third position, he's always kind of right there, tasting the front.
Yeah,
I
think
in
they just
his
redid
interview
it
coming into this.
Because they said it used to be
he's done
blue.
really well this indoor
and
season.
Now they put
but
it with the
still
color,
thinks
like
about
with the Jamaican
two
colors.
people beat him in the 5K at the Olympics, and two people beat him in the 10K, and he doesn't like that.
So
So he's very hungry to win
but
races.
It does look good.
Coupeteer, the first to kind of nudge onto the shoulder of Bikili, and because he's done that, he then just responds a little bit. Others start to look for good position. Quemoy looks like he's working a little hard for me on the inside, just even with his slight lift in pace. Fisher, comfortable, looks relaxed. So does Gebriwet. Gebriwet looks as though he's just got his eyes on Fisher.
Nice, relaxed
They're coming around with 2 laps to go.
2 laps left, yep.
Still all 8 men tucked together.
They're all tucked in together. There's not
real
any
moves
clear
at the front here for
separation.
Bikili. Pace still not on here. They'll go through the gears at some point, but for the moment they're still cruising.
So the 2 guys in the back were the 2 guys that came from behind at the Olympics to get 2nd and 5th. Keep your eye on them, but this is exactly where Fisher wants to be, on the shoulder, watching what's going on in front, waiting, almost getting ready to pounce.
Quemoy still looks like he's working hard for me at the back. Gebriwet watching Fisher ahead of him. We haven't really mentioned Dylan Jacobs. He's still in there with the green vest.
5th at the World Indoors was Dylan Jacobs, having a good indoor season, now training in Boulder with the On Athletic Group.
So Thierry and Dikamwenyao on the outside of Bikili, tucked on the inside, Coupeteer, Grant Fisher on his shoulder. Here comes Gebriwet on the outside, the Ethiopian being followed by Quemoy, and they're going to take the bell, and finally the pace starts to arrive.
Here we go,
at the front, and Gebriwet's gone hard.
And here goes the pace. Look at him.
He's gone quick.
Here he goes.
Grant Fisher's been caught unawares there. Quemoy not able to cover, and it is indeed Dylan Jacobs who's going with it.
Grant Fisher just fell way behind. Oh, well, here it goes. Here, look at Grant Fisher in the back.
Fisher there, right there. He had
Fisher's
to make
gonna
the
just
move
slowly
move.
just creep
He had
up.
to kind of slide through.
And he'll just slide right in like he always does.
Use that
That's how he won bronze.
that he had
There he go.
over the indoor season. But look at Dylan Jacobs.
There you go.
Jacobs has stayed quiet all the way through this. Could this be the biggest win of his career?
Look at Fisher.
Now
Look at Fisher.
Coupeteer coming
Look at
back
Fisher.
into it as well. Quemoy,
This is how he got bronze.
And right on the outside.
That's how he got bronze. Oh,
the
who's that?
Americans are charging. It's Dylan Jacobs.
That's Dylan Jacobs?
And Grant Fisher, who's meant to
Look
win
at Fisher.
this. Is Fisher going to get ahead? Grant Fisher has just
that's
got it.
crazy.
He's going to do it by a meter. Fisher
Bro.
gets it.
GG, Grant Fisher.
That was a brilliant finish. A race
That's a really good
which
run.
took a while to get going, but in the end, a big, big last lap.
Look at that 51-second last lap.
Grant Fisher.
I'd be interested to see, because we've got a last 200 here for 26.2 for Grant Fisher, but that wasn't done smoothly in the sense of that last whole 400. You know, Gebriwet went hard and he went first. Fisher just got caught.
But Jacobs, Jacobs was really coasting.
Jacobs was in a great position, got up onto Gebriwet. At this point, you're thinking he's got a great chance here. Fisher's now got himself back involved, but then what a strap down the home straight.
I really liked how Dylan Jacobs just took control. This is his old ways. He is a winning guy. He likes to win, but he's raced these 2 Americans for years, since high school. But watch that drive. Coupeteer hunting Grant Fisher down, but Grant Fisher just shows that he has that turnover, that confidence, and the will to win. He has such patience. He doesn't panic. That's why he is one that's winning, setting world records, and winning medals.
Yeah, that's the mark of a champion. He had to fight for that in the end.
Yeah.
He knew, though,
That's
he was meant to
3
win
Americans.
this. He
1,
wanted
2,
to
3.
win it. 12 points, so important.
I didn't know with 300 to go, though. He really had to make that big move.
I think Gebriwet probably made too big a move when he went, and he's not been racing on the track, and that's hard when you change up like that. However, he still hung on for 4th place and took the 5 points. Quemoy did look a little tired in the latter stages, took 4 points. But there's the big points to the 3 Americans.
3 Americans, 1, 2, 3.
And 14:39. We're not talking times, but that was slow.
Very.
Still super exciting, huh?
All about the win.
All right,
All about
that's
the
the
win.
point thing. their times that are slower than their PBs. So you can tell that, like, you know, yes, they're taking it seriously because that's their
the
craft.
men's 5,000. I'm tempted to start with Sonny Richard Ross because it really was a great 400.
Like they would.
They ran for 40. They kind of ran for 4,600 meters, and they raced for 400. Is how the layman sees it. What's the expert have to say?
Shit, I could have been in there with the lap to go. You know, it was exciting. I think this is what we want to see, right? We want to see competition.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you what the final time was until I looked on my monitor here. I just wanted to see who was going to win. Very impressed with the Americans, obviously going 1, 2, 3. 2 of the 3 there, Cooper and Dylan, both competitors. They are challengers, and I'm very anxious to see after this weekend if they will get invited back again after this great showing.
I might even go to, like, this is going to be a great lead into the 100 for the short sprints because that's what it came down to.
I was like, yo, did he just he dropped the F-bomb, bro?
Runs 12:44 for the indoor world record 5,000. Explain to me how this thing goes.
And then the way Sonny Richard Ross started laughing when he said
I think it was pretty predictable by the Americans. It's a little bit of an unknown on what the Ethiopians and the Kenyan was going to do because we don't know what kind of fitness they're in. But Americans, this is very early in their season. They all just came off the indoor season, so they're sharp. All of them, you know, again, most of them came through the NCAA. We like tactical races. That's our strong suit. So it was pretty obvious that none of those 3 were going to touch the lead or make it really fast. And it was going to have to be from one of the Africans, which they did not do. So we'll see now when they come back for the 3K if that changes their plans, seeing just how well the Americans competed over the last lap. I mean, 51.5 is rolling, especially this early in the season. I don't care how slow it is. That's pretty impressive.
Well, he had a little bit left in the tank. They will run again on Sunday, so they get a day off after that exhausting 14:39. But listen, everybody ran the same place. And I admire guys that can run that fast and that far. Grant Fisher, Cooper Tier, Dylan Jacobs, 1, 2, 3 for the Americans here on day 1 at Grand Slam track.
Our last race? Oh, yeah. I bet. Our last race of the evening is the men's 100 meters. So we already know 100 meters is always one of the most exciting races to watch. Short distance, short sprint. You know, world record holder Usain Bolt. You know. And the field that we have for the men's 100 meters is very, very good. We got Fred Curley from the U.S., personal best of 9.76. Oblique Seville from Jamaica. Zarmel Hughes of Great Britain. Kenny Bednarik of the U.S. Yes, Kung Fu Kenny, baby. Courtney Lindsay of the U.S. Akeem Blake of Jamaica.
Back
Terrence
here
Jones
in Kingston,
of Bahamas.
Jamaica, day 1 of Grand Slam
Joseph
track.
Famboulé
Reggae
from
dancehall
Liberia.
artist Yaxta making it clear he is not here to fit in, he is here to stand out, which is like my mantra, only exactly
Everybody's
the opposite.
run sub 10. So.
Beyond music, Yaxta is also working on several projects, including his brand Bush Foods, which features a line of water boots, speakers, banana chips, events such as Bush Fest and Bush Fiesta hailing from St. Mary, north of Kingston. Yaxta continues to use his platform to promote positive lifestyle choices through his music. A lot of great performances here today.
Once again, like I said, we will be live
by the athletes.
for
96
day 2
of them
tomorrow.
in all. 48 racers, 48 challengers competing here in the very first Slam.
And then
Grand Slam track day 1,
3
put
on
together
Sunday.
by Michael Johnson. Finally, after the announcement in Los Angeles so many months ago, they're finally here on the track, and to wrap up this first day will be the men's 100. So it'll see if they can, the men's 100 guys can run faster than Grant Fisher, Cooper Tier, and Dylan Jacobs did in the last 100. Rotzi has gotten a hold of. That's pretty good. He got Grant Fisher before, he got Grant Fisher after. He's like his personal interviewer. Rotzi?
Grant Fisher, with 300 meters to go, we didn't know. With 200 meters to go, we didn't know. With 100 meters to go, we didn't know. But you got there in the end. How was it?
Yeah, I mean, you saw a bunch of 5K guys trying to run 100 meters there, and got it done. I'm really happy with that. That's one of the slowest 5Ks I've run in a while, but it was championship style. I need to kick if I want to do well at these meets, and my kick's there, so I'm really happy.
And this isn't just any meet. There's a lot on the line. As I said to you just before the race started, you got the points, and that's what matters. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, it's big. We're halfway home. you know, got to recover now, get ready for the next one. Thankfully, that wasn't too demanding of a race physically. Just a hard 400 at the end. So get in the ice bath, get ready to go, and we'll see. Maybe some new tactics in the 3K. Maybe someone will try to push it this time. So I'm happy with that. American boys did pretty well, so good showing.
Recover well. We can't wait to see you go again.
Yeah, I'm excited. Thanks, man.
Grant Fisher's correct. Really great last 100 meters. Listen, this is the Slam. There's a lot of new things happening with this track meet. But in any meet, universal, if you get the 100 meters, that's the race people want to see.
And that's why we save the best for last. And Fred Kerley is going to be featured in this race. Last season, John, it looked like he wasn't even going to make the team. And he was able to pull out a great run there. And then he came back home with a bronze medal in the 100. There's Oblique Seville, who will be his chief competitor.
Couple of Jamaicans in this race, 3 Americans. Don't forget Terrence Jones from the Bahamas. Steve Cram, the 100 meters to finish off.
Go. 100 meter, men's 100 meter. Like I said, we got solid field.
On the far side, as we look at it,
Frank
Terrence
Curley,
Jones
Kenny Benaric,
from the Bahamas,
Seville,
22-year-old,
Akeem Blake, Terrence
991.
Jones, Joseph Famble.
See the times there,
Courtney
all of
Lindsey,
these
Darnell
men
Hughes.
well under the magical, or is it still magical, 10-second mark. Courtney Lindsey.
All have run sub 10.
Former NCAA champion. This his first race of the season. Darnell Hughes, as I said, like one or two of the others, he has had a little bit of a run out. The British athlete, based here though, and knows this track so well. Former Anguillan athlete. 200 used to be his best event, a bit like Kung Fu Kenny here, if you like, but Darnell
Kenny
is pretty swift at the 100 meters as well. And Fred Kerley. Kerley's going to be in lane 5.
Oh, they got Kenny
one of
and
the
Fred
quickest men
right next to each
over
other.
the 100 meters, but that talent that he has at the longer distances will stand him in good stead surely in this Grand Slam. Needs to do go well in this 100 though. Huge reception.
It's going to be hard to compete with this.
Yeah. Oblique Seville, is he ready? Akeem Blake, another. He's run a 200 already this year, and a new personal best over the longer distance, so that might stand him in good stead here. And then the Liberian, Joseph Famble, he's going to go in lane 8. Olympic finalist in the last 2 Olympic Games over the 200 meters.
Men's 400
So we
meters.
got Jones
men's 100
in
meters.
1, Lindsay in 2, Hughes is in 3. Then in the middle, Benarek for Kerley, right in the middle in 5. Seville in the orange in lane 6. Then Blake, his teammate next to him, and Famble in lane 8.
He goes.
Benarek gets a good start. Fred
Oh.
Kerley just got left a little
Kung Fu
bit.
Kenny had a
off,
good
so
start.
it goes.
That's all Kung Fu Kenny, bro.
Kenny Benarek and then
Oh! Wait, Seville!
Seville is going to just
Ooh! I think Kenny got it. I think Kung Fu Kenny got it.
as close as you want to get.
I think Kung Fu Kenny got it right by Seville.
Has got the tape around his chest, but Benarek might have hung on to this.
Kenny
We're
got
going to
that.
wait for the photo finish. He's got it. Kenny Benarek has been
Yup,
given it.
Kung Fu Kenny,
10-07,
victorious.
10-08.
10-07. Oblique Seville,
He got
10-08.
it well, didn't he, Benarek?
And then Darnell Hughes.
Then after that point,
Darnell Hughes,
Seville comes and he starts to charge
10-13.
through. And then at the end, though, maybe the strength,
Akeem
the
Blake
200 meter
fourth.
strength, if that is a factor in the 100. But he
Courtney
stayed
Lindsey
strong, he
fifth.
stayed good.
Hey, when did Fred
And
go?
he comes out as the winner. Hughes takes third, 10.13, same time as Blake.
Hurley finished 7th.
Kenny actually doesn't look happy. He reacted really, really well, but had a stumble that kind of interfered with his acceleration. I know that's what he's thinking about. And when that happens, you could see the Jamaicans kind of move through him in the acceleration phase. But with that 100 meter or 200 meter strength, I mean, someone like that's going to come through at the end.
Kung Fu Kenny.
Fairly even
Victorious.
reaction-wise, but as you can see here, kind of lost his footing in that acceleration. Now you can see him fighting to get back in. He's definitely not going to be pleased with that. But if you're just faster than everyone else, if you're able to relax, you'll get back into the race. Yo, it was a lot closer to that replay than I thought. As we've seen the rail cam here, you can see in the acceleration phase, Akeem Blake moving through a lot faster. An oblique coming through the latter part of the race.
That was a good stop by Kenny, though.
Battle of the headbands coming through at the end. But Kenny did come through with the tape to secure that 100 meters. For him, going into the deuce, that's huge. So
yeah, that's significant, isn't it? He takes 100. Curley, nowhere really. We said that 10.2 clocking. He was even slow at 10.3. This was into a headwind, incidentally, minus 1.3. Not as windy as it was earlier in the evening, but that really means a sub-10 clocking for Bednarek. But more importantly, he's got the 12 points.
You know, I'm not too worried about the times here.
He got Kung Fu Kenny on his.
He's a 200-meter guy. And you come here and beat some of the major 100-meter players. I mean, you establish yourself. I think that's the biggest thing here. You know, we raced today and I beat you. As far as I'm concerned, I won last. Y'all suck to me.
Kung Fu Kenny with a breeze, bro.
What it is.
Breeze.
Win is a win.
A win is a win, but it's given that he's got his best event theoretically to come, that's a huge win for him. Hughes, I think, will be really pleased to have sneaked in by a couple of thousandths into third place. Seville sets himself up nicely with that second place. Disappointing performance from Fred
Seville was right there, 10.08.
In seventh, but he'll be back in the 200. Okay, we weren't sure if he was happy, but we can find out now because he's with Radzi.
I know,
Kenny Bednarek, there is a reason why the Jamaicans love the 100 meters. It was close, it was exciting. You got the 12 points. How was it for you?
It feels great. I mean, the first time being in Jamaica, so I definitely hear the crowd. They're electrifying. And, you know, my block starts have gone a lot better this year, but that race didn't really show it. I ended up subtly, but other than that, a win's a win, and I'm happy to be here.
And the exciting part for you is you love doubling up in the 200 meters, so you must be feeling pretty confident.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty confident. I mean, last year was me kind of trying to figure things out, and I think I finally figured it out this off season, so I'm feeling dangerous this year. And Grand Slam's giving me the opportunity to run a lot more hundreds. That's all I needed last year was just more repetition.
I'm doing good.
You know, this is going to be a good year.
Congratulations, Kenny. We can't wait to see the two.
All right, thank you. See you tomorrow.
And this was our
last excellent performance from Bednarek in that 100 meters. That is our last action of day one of the first ever Grand Slam.
I'll tell you who's in the 200.
But what a day it's been.
I don't think he is. Still. Our girl Jasmine Camacho Quindo. She in there.
So Gabby Thomas was our first winner in the women's long sprints 200. Excellent run from her.
No,
the wind
it's
started
all the same.
To die down, and then
all
we saw some big, fast performances after that. Really has been an exciting first day.
Yep, Gabby Thomas.
So in terms of the overall standings, there is an overall prize for men and women as well. Of course, all of the winners have got 12 points from today. This was a super fast 400 meters from Chris Bailey. Matt Hudson-Smith, the Olympic silver medalist, could not hang on to the world indoor champion who carried on his winning ways. But it was quick, almost a personal best for the American.
Arian Knight was here, my gosh. Like Arian Knight and Andre DeGrasse.
Well, those are the standings from that last event.
Well, first Christopher Bailey and then Kenny Bednarek. It was a big day for headbands here at Grand Slam Track as we come through you, and look at Ty won that women's race. Day one. What a great shot of National Stadium here. And oh, there we are. You can kind of see us down here in the D. Sonia Richards-Ross, Matthew Senjowitz. Okay, Kenny Bednarek. We know he's a great 200 guy, and we think he's undersold in the 100 because that's not his primary thing. Instead, he's Olympic finalist. 10:07 to open to beat Oblique Seville. Seems like that's a really good day at the office.
A great day at the office. I had a chat with his coach, Dennis Mitchell, yesterday during practice. And sometimes you got to take what coaches say with a grain of salt, right? Because they always think their athletes are ready. But he said what he thought was the difference maker for Kenny is his start. And although he did have the stumble, you could still tell that he was in the mix at the start. And when you have an athlete like that has the strength of a 200-meter runner and the success that he's had at 200, plus being in an Olympic final means that he's ready for these moments. And so you combine his finish with that start, and that means that he is in great shape for the season. That was an awesome, awesome race for Kenny Bednarek.
And then coming in, obviously, Fred Kerley, one of the biggest names.
Yeah.
He's a former world champ and Olympic medalist. He finishes 7th. This is one of those where I go, okay, I think it's April. I don't know that I'm worried about Fred in any way, shape, or form.
I mean, we've seen what Fred can recover from in a season, and so I just felt like he never got going. Like, he got out the blocks, and he just seemed like he just never really got in the mix. And I think Fred is the kind of athlete, if he's not going to win it, he kind of just pulls back, and so he didn't give it everything that he had. Now, it certainly doesn't put him in a good position to win the overall slam, because we know that Kenny Bednarek is probably the favorite going into the 2, so he looks like he's going to be the clear favorite to win the overall slam here in the men's short sprint. But, Fred Kerley, you never know what you're going to get, but he shows up for the big races when it counts.
Yep, Kenny Bednarek in very good spot. He'll race the 200 meters. That is tomorrow, race 2 for the short sprinters. We will be back to recap the entire day. John, Sonia, Matthew Centros, because we have 5,000
women.
Well, I don't know if we have a post-game show as long as the 5,000, but we'll see if we can get as much of it in as we can when we return here on Grand Slam Track.
Clark, Kimber Nelson, Daryl Nata, Brittany Brown, Alana Reed, and Jodie Ann Williams. And it's dope because it's like the challengers can kind of like they swap, right? Because it's like kind of like, oh, like if you're available, be on call. So that's what it's kind of like, which is really dope. I believe that is all for us. I just want to say, about 8:30. So just want to say thank y'all so much for hanging out. Like I said, I will be doing this tomorrow. Yeah, exactly, proper. That's a really good way to put it. So we'll be back tomorrow at 6:30 for day 2 of Grand Slam Track, and then Sunday we'll be live at 3:30 Eastern, from 3:30 to 5:30 for day 3. Okay, and I do appreciate the Creative Sports Network. Shout out to CSN. If you want more information, I believe I hope my pin post was there. If not, I will definitely have it tomorrow. If you want more information about Grand Slam Track, make sure you go to grandslamtrack.com, and it'll give you all the information about the competitors, the race, the race style and formats, and the locations of future events. All right. Also, make sure you tap in with myself. Follow me on YouTube. Follow me on TikTok. Follow me on Twitch. As I do more sports, more gaming, IRL, a little bit of everything here on my channel.
I want to win. So, I need to get there with the mindset okay, I'll work my ass out to be here. So I need to do great. I need to just perform well and just achieve my own expectation. So I think that's the secret.
I can't tell you. It's a secret.
Alisson dos Santos,
Joshua Clark,
Clément Ducos.
Racers, on your mark.
Outdress the Flash. They say he's the fastest man in the world. He would have to beat me to be the fastest man in the world. I don't think he can beat me.
There's so many that I would say, but I think I would do it with Sonic. The character is really funny. It's really, really nice and chill. So I think we can match the vibe and just go out for a run.
Not really. I listen to a lot of songs. I don't have any special ones, but I'd say I listen to Afrobeats a lot. I like to dance, I like to vibe.
I kind of have a routine to warm up and every single thing. I start with something something more chill, R&B, some hip hop, but chill. And then when I'm getting closer to the race, get a little bit heavier the music. And I have some rappers from Brazil that I really, really love them. Jonga, Majora hit there. So those guys, they are always in my playlist,
I love Adele. I never stop. I always follow my dreams, so I'll tell my younger self, keep going, don't stop.
I would say don't be afraid. actually like just go for it, you know? Have fun, but actually like just go for it. You have like nothing to lose, you know, like just go for it.
I tell him to never give up, even if it's tough. There's always something bigger coming, and never quit, and just enjoy it because it's only a sport, so just have fun. My biggest mentor was my first coach in France, Camille Béchet. He recruited me when I was in high school. I was actually throwing javelin, and he said, you should come to practice, you can throw